Well, hello and welcome to the 2018 ActewAGL Canberra Classic from Royal Canberra Golf Club here in the nation's capital city, and this $150,000 event swing on the ALPG Tour in Australia and also on the LET Tour, and it's a great pleasure to be here for this afternoon for the culmination of this wonderful event, and great to be joined by Jo Charlton.
Thanks,
Jo
Dottie.
Charlton, the Development Officer for Golf Victoria, and great to have you in commentary with us this afternoon, and so much to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting day. Got some. We're spoilt for choice with plenty of great players out there today, so looking forward to what we've got in store.
Well, what do we have in store? Like, what we have is an outstanding field, an absolutely brilliant golf course, great weather, and a tournament potentially that has the potential to keep growing into a real fixture on this calendar.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's the first time we've been back in Canberra for several years now. The 2013 Women's Open was here, but we're back here now. And we've got a great swing of events that the ALPG and in conjunction with the LET have put together for us, which is wonderful, which has been a draw card to bring a lot of the LPGA girls out here, the LET girls, and obviously we've got two front runners, being Minjee Lee and GA Shin. So it's going to be an enthralling finish.
We've been blessed so far in the Australian summer with the weather. The weather last week at the Vic Open was outstanding. It's absolutely a postcard here today at Royal Canberra. And just take us through what the players are going to encounter.
Well, it's going to be very different to last week. We were down at 13th Beach, link style. Up here, much more tree-lined. I was speaking to Michael Clayton last week down at 13th, and he said it was set up to be the Augusta of Australia, but maybe with a few kangaroos floating around. And but yeah, no, rewards accuracy out there. Big greens, but they're still tricky. There seems to be some slopes and ridges in them, so it's accuracy off the tee and in your approach as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful undulating parkland golf course. It really is one of the most picturesque courses in the country. Very hot weather this week, and we've got another hot day today in the early 30s, and a lot of precautions taken by the course here at Royal Canberra to make sure that this course was presented in absolutely pristine conditions. So there's been a lot of water poured onto the course, meaning it's playing a little bit longer. In certain spots, that water on the course has meant that a bit of mud has stuck to the balls in certain places. So the field is playing preferred lies this afternoon, but that's just going to add to the shot making that we're going to see.
Too right it is, and it's come up a real treat on the camera. You're in for a great day, no doubt. Very lush, as you said, plenty of water that's been dumped on due to the droughting conditions.
Yeah, I mean, we went for a drive around this golf course this morning. There is hardly a blade out of grass. It's one of the most perfectly presented and manicured golf courses you've ever seen. Yeah,
no doubt. It's a bit. I liken it to the Australian. Very, very different to a typical Australian sort of dry, linksy style of course. And it's super lush. And it's plenty of birdies have been out there. There's been a handful of eagles on a lot of the par fives. That seems to be where the players are making their move. That's been the stats have been showing. So we're looking forward to tracking that with our leaders.
And you can see the images of this classic golf course right on the shores of Lake Burleigh, Griffin, and big, large greens. It's been quite a significant redesign by Mike Clayton and Jeff Ogilvy in recent times, and that's just, I think, just added to the shot selection and the dimension of thought that you have to use when you play on this golf course. And it really is one of the great pleasures in Australian golf, Royal Canberra. You really feel like you're in for a great treat when you come here. Yeah,
no doubt. Strategically, we'll see that when we're going out there today as well. There's a few bunkers that are positioned in strategically. Going towards the hazard is going to give you the next, the best approach shot. So we'll see that as we unfold this afternoon. The strategic side of what Clates and Ogilvy have done out here.
It's an amazing field that's turned up for this event, and you know, it's just a testament to the support that the women in professional golf are lending to growing the game in this country. And it really does start with the real rising star, the absolute #1 Australian golf, Minjee Lee, who's just got so much potential, and it's so wonderful to have her at this event.
Yeah, no, she put on an absolute masterclass last week with a bogey-free first 2 rounds, and then an eagle, handful of birdies, and won by 5 shots on the last day. So yeah, can't wait to see what she's going to bring to us today, and obviously playing with one of her favourites or one of her sort of homegrown heroes, GI as well. So it's going to be a great day.
Well, Minjee Lee is the world number 17, and it is wonderful to have her at Royal Canberra this week.
Just a few days after claiming the Vic Open title for the second time, Australian number 1 Minjee Lee is hunting her next piece of silverware at the ActewAGL Canberra Classic.
Last week was really fun. I got to win as an amateur and as a professional as well now, so it's no, it is pretty cool. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. My shots are solid, and my putter feels good as well.
Should Lee take out the title in the nation's capital, a trifecta would be on the cards, with the Australian Open up next in Adelaide.
It's obviously physical and mental as well, but probably more mental when you're under pressure. Physically, I guess if you're tired, then mentally you'll get affected as well.
While her focus is on victory, the 21-year-old is proud to be helping take women's golf in the right direction.
I always want to aspire to be a role model to younger girls and the juniors coming up. So yeah, it's always been a big goal of mine to really grow the game in Australia, and hopefully I can continue to do that.
Joe, I think what we notice about Minjee Lee there is just how much she's growing into herself, how much she's maturing, how she's talking about growing the game. She's talking about, you know, looking after the kids that are looking up to her in the same way that she looked up to her role models going forward. And there really is a sense that she is just about to take the bull by the horns in women's golf. Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. She obviously coming off the win last week, growing in confidence, but 3 years on tour, I think I looked at the stats, she's played in 83 events and made 72 cuts. So she's a machine, Minjee, and she's a household name. She's our My Golf ambassador, and the kids, they really look up to her, and we've got a bunch of junior girls out here today, which I'm sure will be keen to follow her down that back nine.
And just as an aside, her uber-talented brother Min Woo Lee has made the match play in Perth this week in the European Tour event, so they're a remarkable family.
Yeah, no doubt about them, but I think... to me, I liken Minjee to, as graceful as Roger Federer is on court. I think Minjee is as graceful as he is out here in the course, and the most efficient action, I reckon, in golf, and I cannot wait to watch it for the entire afternoon here. Yeah, such a great economy of movement, and as we saw last week in Victoria, though, she has this capacity to just get the putter really, really hot and putts to go in, but the converse can often happen with Minjee, is that when a putter's off, it can be really horrible. Well, that was day 3 at the Oaks Vic Open last week on the Saturday. Yeah, she was having a bit of an off day, shot a couple over, but remarkable that she could quickly flick the switch mentally, and just had an absolute blinder on the last day. Never looked like losing that. In terms of the depth of the field, can't look past the European Tour, the Ladies European Tour #1, Georgia Hall, who is such a huge star in Europe, and again, wonderful to have her at this event. Yeah, she's obviously the reigning European #1, winning the Order of Merit last year. She had a really well-esteemed amateur career. She made a rookie start in the Solheim Cup last year, and she's just one of many. I think we've got 38 tour winners out here this week, and yeah, if she gets her putter going, no doubt she could be there at the pointy end. One of the great things about being a professional golfer is that it doesn't all have to be work. There can be a little bit of play as well.
European #1 Georgia Hall has enjoyed success in Australia before, and the 2016 Vic Open winner is ready to do it again as she chases victory at the ActewAGL Canberra Classic. At just 21 years of age, Hall is making every minute of her time in Australia count, taking in the best sights Canberra has to offer.
I think it's amazing condition. The greens are big, they're very tricky. I think that's their protection. The condition of the fairways are amazing, and it's lovely to play such a nice golf course here. I think it's snowing in England right now, so I think it's quite different at the moment. You know, I'm getting used to it. Last week at Melbourne it was similar, so you know, I'm finding it okay at the moment. To win the Order of Merit last year was kind of one of the biggest things for me, and I was so happy when I eventually did. It's a long year. You know, I just try and set myself goals and try and kind of be in my own mind, not think about what everyone else is doing or what else is going on. I just focus on my own golf, and it's going well. I've driven around a bit. You know, I went to the zoo as well, so that was always good. And you know, it looks like a really nice place, quiet place, which, you know, is a bit different. Sometimes we're in the middle of cities, so it's quite nice to be somewhere quite, you know, not empty, but, you know, it's peaceful. I think that there is a lot of good players this week, so I think whoever's going to win has to be on their game, but I'm just going to concentrate on my own golf and kind of see what happens. But, you know, there are a lot of good players out here.
Well, Georgia Hall is such a rising star in the world of golf, not just European golf, but world golf as well. And she really has not achieved her full potential in the game just yet.
It's such a young age. We're talking about Solheim Cup, as we mentioned just before, 2016 Oates Vic Open champion, another tied third last week. So, yeah, you know, you're right. We're going to, like Minjee and all these other young ones that are coming through, we're going to see lots of them for years to come.
And what we noticed with Georgia Hall on the range is when we were watching her warming up, and I guess just watching the whole range and just the athleticism of these young golfers coming through now. But she's not big in stature, but she really generates a lot of speed with her golf swing.
A heap of acceleration through the ball, and can get it out there for a slight girl.
Yeah, so we'll look forward with great interest to watching Georgia Hall this afternoon. She's in contention. There's certainly a lot of golf to be played, though, for her to have a chance to win this ActewAGL Canberra Classic. Well, another very interesting name in this field is has the surname of possibly the most famous golfer ever
Golfing
to play
royalty.
the game. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Cheyenne Woods. We're going to hear from her in a second, but what a story. Wherever she goes, she's going to get a story. It was wonderful to see her down at 13th Beach last week. It was a bit of a debacle with her arriving. Her clubs didn't arrive. She flew in from the Bahamas, which is basically a worldwide sort of trek, and she arrived on the Wednesday. Clubs didn't arrive, I think, till late on Wednesday night, and she pegged it up Thursday morning and shot a 5 under. So classy player, and yeah, in the field this week as well, which we really appreciate in the lead up to the Aussie Open. And I think that's really helped this year with the swing of events that we've put together. A lot of the American girls and the European girls are coming out in preparation for next week.
Great to have Cheyenne here. Of course, she won back in 2014 at Royal Pines and made a huge amount of fans in Australia. And let's have a listen to what Cheyenne's thinking about this week in Canberra.
Cheyenne Woods is back chasing success on Australian soil. The 2014 Australian Ladies Masters champion kick-started her year with a strong showing at the Vic Open, and now she turns her attention to success at the ActewAGL Canberra Classic.
The golf course is in great shape, and I love coming out here because this is the one place we actually get to see kangaroos, which is exciting for us Americans. So that's always fun walking down the fairways and seeing them on the side. I feel good. This is my 3rd week now of the season, and I've been playing pretty well. I feel good about my game. It feels solid. I think the course sets up pretty well for me, so you never know what will happen, but I feel good with going into tomorrow. I think it's great preparation to play out here the week prior, and even having 2 weeks leading into that here in Australia. That's really why I wanted to come down here, is having a good stretch and hopefully finishing strong next week at the Open. These 2 events, last week the Vic Open and now Canberra Classic, they're great tournaments to play with a great field, so it's great practice to just get my season kicked off. I think the local, like Minjee Lee, you know, local from here in Australia, she's been playing amazing. And I'm also paired with Catherine Kirk, another local. So you always have to look out for the Aussies because they're great players, so it'll be fun.
It's no secret golf runs in her veins, and the niece of 4-time world champion Tiger Woods was more than happy to share in the joy of her uncle's return to the PGA Tour.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's been so long since he's actually looked and felt healthy, I guess. And so it's exciting to see that he's playing well, and it looks like he'll be playing a few times this year, which is great. I always go back every once in a while and just look at his highlights online, and you forget how many moments he's had, and it's just so exciting to watch him play. So I'm looking forward to, I think he's playing next week, so that'll be good, and the rest of the year.
And Joe, I think it's fair to say that the world of golf is always in a better place when Tiger Woods is on the links rather than injured.
Tiger's back. He's playing at Riviera next week, and he just brings so much to the game. When he made his comeback at the Farmers Insurance Open, or Farmers Insurance Classic rather, it was 15 deep watching him. It was just, it's unreal. He just brings another element, and every other golfer in the field gives him credit for that.
Absolutely. We've touched on some of the star names, but there's one name who's perhaps one of the real forgotten players in women's golf worldwide, and that's Jie Shin. She's chosen to go to Japan and play her career up there after having such a wonderful start to her career internationally. Of course, she's a former world #1. But she just cannot be discounted here this weekend.
There's no doubt. She went back to Japan to be closer to home. She was getting a bit tired and homesick, essentially, and she's shining through over in Japan. But such an accoladed career. She was the champion here in 2013 at the Women's Australian Open, and that was in the wake of a 2012 season where she played 18 events, made 18 cuts, 5 top 5s, and won the British Open by 9 strokes in that 1 year. So she cannot be discounted, and I believe she's making a move out there today.
48 career victories before the age of 30 for Jie Shin. Remarkable. Well, and one other name is Pinilla Lindberg, who's been playing beautifully the first 2 rounds, and I guess she's going up against a couple of players of rare quality and calibre. Can she win?
We love an underdog in Australia, and she's our underdog. She's our roughie today. Never won on tour, so this would be her maiden title. She's been close, couple of runner-ups, top 5 at a US Open. So she's there. She's got the game, but she's got to get past Lee and Shin.
Well, we've seen some world-class golf so far in rounds 1 and 2. Let's take a look at highlights.
After a 5-year absence from the golf calendar, the ActewAGL Canberra Classic returns bigger and better than ever. A 144-strong field, including 38 major tour winners, grace the lawns of Royal Canberra as players compete for the $150,000 prize purse. And ageless Dame Laura Davies proves she hasn't lost her touch, charging out to an early lead, shooting 6 birdies to be 7 under through 12. But as the temperatures warmed up, so too did South Korea's Jie Shin. The rising stars of women's golf took it to the veterans. European #1 Georgia Hall was right at home on the fairways. While Aussie favourite Minjee Lee had the locals cheering. A front 9 surge kept Lee in touch with the top of the leaderboard. The 21-year-old carding 5 birdies and finishing the day bogey-free.
I probably didn't hit it as solid as I wanted to, but yeah, I made up and down 4 birdies on the par 5s, and yeah, I just made my birdies there.
But it was the former South Korean #1 who dominated the Royal Canberra course, carding 8 birdies and returning to the clubhouse at 7 under 65.
I started 10 today and started with a birdie, so it makes a lot of confidence to play today. The green was beautiful, the all golf conditions was beauty, so I really enjoyed with that.
And while Shin and Lee are in a top 2 battle, their respect remains the same.
I really enjoy it because, well, I play good, but they also play such a great, so I really, we had a lot of galleries, whole 18 holes, so it feels like I'm a player and also I'm seeing like the galleries, so I really enjoyed watching that.
She hold everything. So no, it's great. I played with her a couple of times in Japan and around the world, so yeah, no, it's pretty nice to have somebody that I know in the group.
Mother Nature forced a brief break in play, but that didn't rattle Ladies European Tour rookie Caroline Lund. The 19-year-old Norwegian couldn't have asked for a better debut at Royal Canberra, hitting 7 birdies to finish 5 under 67. At day's end, Shin remains in the lead. A strong finish from Georgia Hall has her 3 under 69. The veterans are not far behind though. Davies is tied 5th after hitting 4 under 68, while Scotland's Katrina Matthews is 2 under 70. Moving day at the ActewAGL Canberra Classic lived up to its name, as some of the tournament's biggest stars made their way up the leaderboard. Cheyenne Woods impressed crowds on the 18th. But it was her Swedish playing partner Pinilla Lindberg making a charge on day 2. Aussie Catherine Kirk kept the locals happy, while America's Beth Allen joined the flurry of overseas talent at the top. But at 31 years of age, Lindberg is desperate to lift her first piece of silverware, and she made it known, finishing with 7 birdies to be 10 under overall.
It's one of my big goals this year for sure. I've had few runner-up finishes on the LET, haven't won yet on the LPGA either, so getting that first win is for sure something I work towards every day.
Minjee Lee hit the ground running, eagling first as she settled into the afternoon session. By the 13th hole, the Australian #1 led the field. Some putting struggles saw South Korea's Jie Shin drop off, while Lee put on a masterclass, finishing with a 3-shot lead and a few more fans as she chases back-to-back victories.
It would be a big confidence booster for me. Obviously, it's the start of the season and going into next week as well, so no, it would just be really special.
The Canberra fairways proving there's no shortage of talent in women's golf.
No, I think it's great. I mean, the girls from all over the world are playing, and it's obvious the tour's obviously growing and growing, so that's a great sign. And no, I just think it's a great thing for the tour.
It's awesome. I mean, the ALPG should be really proud to see that a lot of us wants to come down here and play, and it's a great warm-up for the Australian Open in Adelaide next week. So I think it's great, you know, the fans get to see a strong international field here.
I think everybody wants to come to Australia and play, and it's great that the LET's co-station these events. That obviously brings a lot of people from all over the world over, so I think it's great for ALPG, and I think it's great for Australian golf in general, so yeah, it's exciting.
As the leaderboard stands, it's Lee on top. Jie Shin, her closest challenger, after shooting a round of 68 to be 11 under. America's Beth Allen is 7 under overall, while European #1 Georgia Hall is 4 under.
Get you close to me. Then when I got you, baby, we go crazy with a capital C.
You might be certain about getting solar, but are you certain about getting the right size system? At ActewAGL Solar, we take away all the uncertainty. As your energy provider, we can take a look at your usage data to tailor a system that will save you the most money and offer great prices on battery storage so you can save even more. Plus, you'll pay $0 up front and have all the reliability of a trusted local company. So don't just be certain about solar, be solar certain with ActewAGL.
Audi Open House is now on. Don't let it pass you by.
Royal Canberra Golf Club on a sunny and warm Sunday afternoon, and we have the privilege of watching some of the world's finest women golfers going head-to-head for this new trophy. And Grant Dodd and Joe Charlton in commentary this afternoon. And Joe, that picture pretty much tells you what the players are confronted with.
Yeah, the sun is shining down here at Canberra. There's plenty of trees. It's a tight course, rewarding accuracy out there today. Yeah, we're going to get out soon to follow our leaders.
Well, let's have a look at the updated leaderboard here in this final round, and there has been some movement at the top of the leaderboard. Minjee Lee has made a bogey, but G.A. Shin, the former world #1, is 2 under par through 5. She's at 13 under, tied for the lead with Minjee Lee, the world #17. Pinilla Lindberg, fine start. She's 2 under par through 5. And Anne van Dam from the Netherlands, 3 under par through 6 holes. And we have a golf tournament on our hands, Joe Charlton.
We certainly do. I think we're crossing now to Pinilla Lindberg. Teeing off 7. Seven's a really short par 4 here, straight up the hill though. It's playing 2-4-2, but you could probably add another 10 to that. Bunkers 40 short, which Lindberg has judged absolutely perfectly there. That's
interesting, Joe, because we were out here this morning looking at this hole and wondering just how many players might be able to reach this green. And that it's basically uphill with I guess probably maybe a 15-metre elevation change. I mean, there's a big bunker at about 204 off the tee that would make the second shot very difficult. So that's where you don't want to hit it. This is Minjee. Also taking an aggressive play and, well, reach the green easily, so just past pin high. And Joe, that's the spot where you want to miss this green if you need to miss it.
Plenty of green there for the girls to work with, and what we were talking about earlier was the strategic style of the course here, where the bunkers or some of the hazards might guard the strategic line that you actually want to take. And it's a perfect example there with the bunkers there guarding the left-hand side of the green. No issue for these girls out in front as we speak.
A really nice mix of par 4s here at Royal Canberra. You've got quite a lot of long and testing holes around about that 370, high 360s metre mark, which would mean a lot of the players will be going in with maybe 6 and 7 irons for their second shots. And then you've got a nice short hole like this where the tee's been brought forward a little bit. It's playing 242, and it's really creating that nice risk and reward proposition.
Yeah, too right. And I think the 9th hole, actually, as we cross over to Anne van Dam in the second last group, making a move today. She's at 3 under total for 11 under total for the tournament.
Rounds of 68 and 68 so far for Anne van Dam, who's really one of the most powerful players in the field. Tall, athletic, generates a huge amount of club head speed, Joe. And it was interesting, some of the stats that came out last week about her game.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be on the 15th at the beach course on the Friday when she came through. And I took a photo of the stats because I couldn't quite believe what I saw. She's pulled out 3-wood and hit it 275 metres. Club head speed of about 107, which is just out of this world in the women's game. She's got long levers.
Yeah, and just to make that sound even a little bit more impressive for our non-metric viewers, just over 300 yards with a 3-wood. So astonishing power there for Anne van Dam, and she's putting that to good use here today. This is Beth Allen, the American. She's at 7 under par, in close consultation with a pretty famous name in the world of golf, Joe.
Yes, Miss Sophie Gustafsson.
Of course, former superstar in the world of golf, who now caddies full-time for Beth Allen.
Yeah, they make a good team. I think one of the first weeks that Soph was on the bag, Beth took out the European Ladies Masters and then went on to have an absolute bumper year. And they make a great team. So the 8th hole here is a 149-metre par 3, slightly uphill, with a hollow short right and a huge swale out back left, so requiring a nicely nipped iron.
Okay, just hang on to the right-hand side. That'll be an uphill birdie putt for Beth Allen. The difficult one, though, that pin just cut on the top of that tier on the left-hand side of the green. And nice galleries just starting to build. Watching this group of, well, 2 real superstars in the women's game. Jie Shin, a 48-time winner around the world, and this young lady, the world number 17, and she keeps playing like she's doing. She won't be 17 for much longer.
No, absolutely not. I think she will have a few records that she might break in her time, Minjee. Plenty of green here to work with. It's just raced away from her.
So that'll be a right to left breaking putt. So Jie Shin just surveying her shot, and you can see that she's just preferring her lie. The players are playing preferred lies here, not because of any poor condition of the course, but just because it's a little bit damp, to make sure that this hot weather didn't dry it out too much. A little bit of mud potentially sticking to the balls at various times. So second shot for Jie Shin. Just a little upslope in front of her, and just get this started and let it feed all the way down to that pin position. Magnificent touch, and that is the essence of Jie Shin's game. Laser-like accuracy off the tee, and a short game, the envy of pretty much every golfer in the world.
Applying some early pressure to Minjee.
Yeah.
And so's this girl. She's seen it done once. Lindberg.
Two under par for the round through so far, Pinilla Lindberg. Yeah, just pulled up a little shorter than she would have liked.
She's left herself an uphill putt there.
Yeah,
so but nice confident stroke at it.
Around 6 feet to go for the Swede.
Been so great to see so many Scandinavians, but right across Europe, so many of the girls coming across in appreciation for the series of events that the ALPG have put on this year.
Well, if you look at the leaderboard, Joe, and you talk about the multicultural nature of women's golf, we've got a Korean, a Swede, an Australian, a Dutch woman, English, American, Thai, all in the top 10 players on the leaderboard. Pretty amazing, really. Oh, not to mention a Scot as well in Kylie Henry. So, Minjee, who's 1 over for the round, This for birdie. Wow, that is beautifully holed. And just what was needed, because G.A. Shin has birdied the 6th hole to move to 14 under. So and she's standing over what can be no more than about 2 feet left for birdie to go to 15 under. So there is some outstanding golf being played here on Sunday afternoon at Royal Canberra. Now, Pinilla Lindberg really doing her homework here at the moment. Probably a 5-foot putt.
Really got to relish your opportunities when you're in the company that she's in, and this is probably one of them.
Well, hold. So birdie for Lindberg. That makes back-to-back birdies for her. And GA just giving this a little bit of attention. Probably 2.5 feet, but it will have a little fraction of left to right in it, Joe, just coming down the slope. So not one that you can afford.
Never dismiss these putts.
Yeah, to underestimate.
A very tidy hole there for Shin.
Three birdies for our final group. And that's also 3 birdies in a row for G.A. Shin. Treating this building gallery to a wonderful exhibition of golf already early in round 3.
Back down to the 8th Van Dam for birdie. She's done it. She likes it too. So that will take her to 11 under.
Well, what you noticed there in particular was just how beautifully that ball rolled.
Yeah,
Just these billiard table putting surfaces here at Royal Canberra.
Yeah, pure surfaces.
So, as we wait for our leaderboard to be updated, but it's G.A. Shin at 15 under par. She's now 4 under par through 7 holes for the day, leading by 1 from Pinilla Lindberg and Minjee Lee, and also Anne Van Dam with that birdie. Actually, Anne Van Dam is at 12 under, but she's 4 under par for the round. So the last few groups really getting their teeth into Royal Canberra.
And Anne Van Dam, no doubt, will be eagerly awaiting some of those par 5s with her extra length. A birdie and perhaps maybe an eagle or 2. She seems pretty pumped out there as we speak. So this 8th hole plays 149, as we saw with that last group that just came through.
So the big fella standing alongside and waving his hands there with G.A. Shin is Dean Herden, who's he's a long time caddy in the world of professional golf, and he's stuck to the women's game for the last, well, most of the last couple of decades, and caddied for GA between 2008 and 2011, and then moved on to some other bags. Caddy's full-time in Korea on the Korean Women's Tour, which is a very strong tour. Caddy's for Jin Young Ko, who's now around about number 20 in the world, as G8 looks to play her tee shot.
She's played a mid-iron there.
Beautiful.
Textbook.
Yeah, just... And that's what you'll see from GA when she's on. She's like a metronome. Just her ability to hit the ball, not just accurately, but on the right distance on a consistent basis is what's remarkable. And that's what separates great professionals from so-so professionals. Not just the ability to be able to hit the ball impressively, but to control distance. And to stand over a shot and go, I know that I can hit this on that number. That is it's a really special quality.
Yeah, I grew up playing a lot with Sue O, and playing with her, you notice that where it's pin high, it's pin high, it's pin high. They've got a remarkable ability to manipulate the club to just give themselves birdie chances for much of the day. And over a four-rounder, that's quite a significant advantage.
Pinilla Lindberg, tee shot on number 8. Oh, we are being treated. It is an absolute exhibition.
What you can do, I can do better. That's an excellent shot there.
Well, it's just sending a message out to Minjee, isn't it? That she had a 3-shot lead, and I think there was a lot of expectation that she was going to run away with this tournament. And her playing partners have made a statement right away, and it will be very interesting to see how she responds to this challenge.
With the wind coming off the left on this hole, it makes it a particularly hard pin to attack. So Lindberg and Shin's shots there were quite impressive. Just found that hollow, short right.
And it's funny, Joe, isn't it, how when you're third to play and your two playing partners who are really nipping at your heels hit it in tight, just how it can sometimes change the equation. It can change the perception of the difficulty of the shot. And so often we see things like that, where what we saw there from Minjee Lee, just leaking a little bit to the right, and she may be in the greenside bunker. We'll wait to see confirmation from down there, but she's got a big afternoon on her hands here.
Well, that's right. It's easier said than done than just to stay in the moment, stay in the process. And we know how calm, cool, and collected that Minjee is. But you're right, when there are people that are sort of stamping some authority around you, that most definitely plays into the back of your mind.
This is Australia's Rebecca Artis, who's just managed to get her card on the LPGA Tour. She'll be playing in America this year for the first time. A great achievement for her. And also her husband Jeff, who caddies for her full time.
Yeah, tour school, one of the most grueling experiences ever. No one can tell you how tough it's going to be.
So wait for confirmation of what that was for. We believe it possibly for a birdie. So Rebecca Artis shot a terrific final round of 4 under par, and will just be nipping at the heels of the top 10, around about in a tie for 13th at the moment. The Australian
from Lydia Hall.
Yeah, from Coonabarabran.
Is that where she really?
Northern New South Wales.
Lydia Hall, well done there. Nice finish. One of our international girls, all the way from Wales, playing most of her golf on the LET.
Over to number 8 and Minjee Lee, who does look to have missed the bunker and is just pitching from the short grass.
It is an uphill chip here, so she can afford to be aggressive with this.
But perhaps not quite that aggressive, Joe. And she has more or less bladed that chip. And very surprising turn of events for the in-form Minjee Lee, who's left herself, well, she's left herself a very difficult putt for par, because that's more or less straight downhill towards the cup. So she'll have to be a little bit defensive with it. And
other girls with birdie chances.
yeah, potentially a big shifting point in this championship here midway through this final round.
And it's Minjee to play first. They have too much time to settle her nerves after that uncharacteristic chip. Just missed on the high side. So a bogey at 8 for Minjee Lee. Drop one further to 13 under now. JA makes his putt. That'll be a 3-shot lead over Minjee. The green complexes are quite big here at Royal Canberra, but play small. And plenty of slope. A ridge or two, and as you can see, a fair bit of homework required by the girls in assessing their putts.
Pretty much a straight uphill putt for Jie Shin. Wow, she is. I've got to tell you an interesting story. But years ago, when I was doing the Pro Shop show on Channel 10, went up to Lakelands Golf Club on the Gold Coast to do an interview with Jie Shin when she was world number 2 in 21, and I challenged her to a putting comp live on camera, and it was a 4-hole putting comp, and I holed 2, and I still lost. I still lost.
That's why she's out there and you're in here.
Well, she's just got she's got no weaknesses.
No,
Jie Shin.
So tidy.
Yeah.
So tidy.
Incredible. Okay. Birdie putt for Pinilla Lindberg.
To stay within 2 from Shin.
Wow,
Well
this
done.
is outstanding golf. Just raining birdies here at Royal Canberra.
Crossing to the 9th hole now. That was a birdie opportunity for Van Dam on the toughest par 4 here at Royal Canberra. A meterage of 369 metres off the tee, and probably the toughest pin on this green. It's tucked far right, edged over a bunker with a significant ridge that runs away from the bunker. So she'll have to tidy up for par. She's got about 5 feet for par. She's having a great day. She's 4 under for the day, 12 under total.
Well, Joe, we expected to see some fine golf when we started this broadcast, but I don't think we were quite expecting to see the battle and the charge on the front line that we have so far.
Yeah, I really anticipated a sort of a 2-horse race today, and it's proving that all of our quality contenders are right in the mix, with our booming Anne Van Dam and Lindberg in the mix, and Shin's really showing her class and putting some pressure on Minjee.
You're right, though. I think the expectation with Minjee Lee, given how she played last week and how she put the field to the sword, and just how she plays when she's confident, that she would just grab this and turn it into a bit of a procession. But it's going to be anything but. And if she's to go back to back, she is really going to have to reach into her bag of tricks.
Van Dam to tidy up for par here on the 9th. Yeah, well done. And it's often really hard, Dottie, to come back from such a great score. So she shot 63 yesterday, and...
You're right, though, and it's one of those mysteries of the game where you shoot an extremely low round, and theoretically, if you were theoretically, if you were a racehorse, you'd be unbackable in your next start.
Yeah.
But as a golfer, it seems to make the challenge of, I guess, running like that once again just a little bit more difficult. Very rarely do you see someone go 63, 63.
Very, very rarely. Beth Allen. Always pretty good with the flat stick, Beth. I just noticed too that Steph Bunke is caddying for Anne Van Dam. She's a young amateur from Victoria, so she'll be enjoying a treat out there today.
Well, a great experience for her, and an opportunity to really get a bird's eye view of what professional golf's all about, and perhaps to get a real clearer understanding of what it takes to be a top flight professional.
Yeah, well, that's right. The leap from amateur to professional is it's a huge leap there. So the more exposure that these girls can get to the players that are inside the ropes and get a sense of it all is very valuable.
That's an interesting assertion there, Joe, because I think a lot of people don't quite understand or realise just what the gulf is between being a top amateur. And it's not just about hitting the golf ball either, is it? It's about actually being able to get used to the lifestyle. It's about being able to be away from home, to be on the road, to handle adversity and distractions. And there's so much more to it than simply about being able to shoot a golf score.
Yeah, your own best asset, essentially, when you're out, and you've got to be really mature to get yourself from A to B. It's obviously week in, week out, travel day Monday, practice days Tuesday, Wednesday, tournament Thursday onwards, and it's on repeat. So it's a physical, mental, and emotional in that too, especially when these girls are turning pro so young.
Yeah, and dealing with the pressure of trying to, I guess, keep your card every year. That's one of the things is, in amateur golf, you have a bad week, well, you go to the next tournament and that's all well and good. But in pro golf, things start backing up on you. You have a few weeks, where you don't play well, you don't make any money, and then you realise you're a long way down the money list. You're trying to keep your card. You're trying to. I mean, it's professional golf is the great example of a social Darwinist experiment, isn't it? It weeds out the weak and the infirm, and basically, if you're not strong enough, then you get walked over in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. And because it's a global game, it's hard to establish yourself just from having a base somewhere. And week in, week out, there's so many variables that you've got to contend with. And it's great to see that Steph's out there helping Anne Van Dam, and maybe a victory in sight today.
Who knows, maybe even a little caddy percentage for the young Victorian as well. But we shall see, and we'll certainly look forward to seeing a lot more of Anne Van Dam as this afternoon progresses. A big, tall, strong Dutch woman who has enormous potential, and hits the ball absolutely prodigious distances. And on some of these par fives, they're reachable for most of the field, but she could be going in with mid to short irons for a second.
She could be hunting the pins on some of those par fives out there later this afternoon. And she's been there. She's won on tour before. She was leading halfway through the Omega Dubai Masters last year, so she should be pretty comfortable in this space. So. I think we're in for a great afternoon with the pressure that's been applied to Minjee from many different angles.
Your day job is involved with junior golf development in this country, and you're at the coalface of that. A very exciting time for junior golf in this country, both in the men's and the women's side of things. And we saw at the end of last year, Cameron Davis coming to the fore, Curtis Luck, winning the US Amateur. What's happening in women's golf at the moment in terms of the youngsters coming through?
Steph's probably an example. She's part of the VIS program back at home, and one of our elite amateurs in my state of Victoria. Recently, Golf Australia appointed Stacey Peters, who's been out here playing this week, missed the cut unfortunately by a mere shot, but her job is basically to be the manager of all these young girls, so that she can help them through the process, the physical, the mental challenges that we were talking about previously, because she's been there, she's won their dual champion on their LET, and she can really support the girls through that process.
This is the magnificent finishing hole here at Royal Canberra, the 18th. This undulating par 5, the second shot up to an elevated green with a very accessible front pin today, and
Sarah Jane Smith to peg it up first, looking like she's got a hybrid in hand.
Playing with Nina Muehl from Austria, and the Solheim Cup captain, Katrina Matthew from Scotland. Absolute legend of European golf.
This is the second shot in for Sarah Jane. A quiet achiever on the US Tour, Sarah.
Oh, well, that is going to be adventurous from the back bunker, and the camera angle may just flatten that out a fraction, but that pin just cut at the bottom of a very, very steep tier, and that ball coming down the slope, if she can get it within 10 feet, that would be an excellent result.
Too right. Over to Solheim Cup captain. I think she's pretty happy to be out here this summer. She's been practicing in a garage that's been snowing outside.
Yeah, we sometimes don't realise just how lucky we've got it in this country. It's golf 365 days a year. The worst that's going to happen is a bit of rain and maybe a 40-degree day here or there. Nina Muehl, the Austrian.
Sure, it's snowing back at home too for her.
Starting right and hanging out right.
I've got a kick and a half. She too will have a slippery slope to contend with. Katrina Matthew had a very consistent week. She's currently 1 under today, but rounds of 70, 73.
Oh, just needed to land a little softer. And, oh, that'll be a tricky shot as well. Just hanging on for dear life on the lip of the bunker. So some adventurous chips and bunker shots coming up there for the Matthew group. Over to Minjee.
Playing her second into 9. Pin tucked right in the right-hand side of the green. That's a tremendous shot from there.
Yeah, really strong par 4, number 9, dogleg from right to left. You just shape your tee shot into position, and then an uphill second shot. Look back at the Royal Canberra Clubhouse. A few people just gathering, the flags just fluttering there, just perhaps guarded by the building. It's certainly a little stronger out in the course, a good 15 to 20 kilometres an hour as GA plays her second. And Joe, just what we were talking about with distance control, it may not be right on the pin, but it's absolutely pin high. And as one of the best putters in the world of women's golf, she would very much like a chance of making another birdie and making that 4 on the trot to finish the front 9.
On the toughest par 4 on the course, the 9th hole. That putt pin high is going to probably just leak a little bit to the left. So nice right to left putt for Shin.
Third shot. Third. She hit out of the trees.
Just got word that Lindberg, this is her 3rd trouble off the tee, so it's like a short wedge in for her 3rd. Terrific shot. Pin hunting there on the 9th. A little bit of runoff from that bunker there, so it'll be still a quick putt for Lindberg. But chance to save par. And keep herself within 1 shot of G.A. Shin at 16 under par. Yeah, the wind seems to be picking up out there. Coming from the northwest. Another hot day for our players to contend with.
Well, it's been an amazing round so far in terms of movement at the top of the leaderboard. And, well, we expected G.A. Shin to have something to say, but we didn't really expect her to make such a emphatic statement. She's 5 under par through 8 holes for the round. She's 16 under, and after trailing by 3 at the start of the round, she now leads Minjee Lee by 3 and Pinilla Lindberg by 1.
Who's also 5 under for the
yes, yeah. So incredible golf. 10 under par for the round between them, and people that have decided to get off their couches and put their Sunday afternoon beers away today are going to be treated to absolutely world-class golf here at Royal Canberra. Joe, I was talking about the number of wins that G.A. Shin's had in her career, and I did list it at 48, but I've got some more updated information. It's actually 67.
Is that right?
67 tour victories in her career, which is just absolutely remarkable. 11 on the LPGA Tour, 5 on the Ladies European Tour, 16 in Japan, 21 in Korea, and
And Korea would have been at the early days when she was a little whippersnapper, I think. First couple of years she played out in Korea. She started with a bang.
Well, Korea, in her first year in Korea, she played 15 events. She won 10. So, an extraordinary talent. The 5'1" G.A. Shin for birdie. She gives a little shake of her head every time she misses a putt, as though, well, I can't believe that. Early on in her career, they nicknamed her in Korea Chalkline, because that's how straight she hit the ball. Just metronomic. One thing you notice with her, you never see her make a swing that looks remarkably different from the one that preceded it. Very, very consistent pre-shot routine. Okay. Sarah Jane Smith in this back bunker. It'll gather speed down the slope, and that's a pretty good result, all things considered. Couldn't afford to leave it at the top of the hill, so around 10, possibly 15 feet coming back for her birdie.
And Katrina Matthews is going to have a similar situation.
But she's going to have to play a different type of shot, Joe, because obviously the bunker shot enabled Sarah Jane to get a little bit more grip on the ball. Head back over to Minjee. This for birdie. And, oh, my word.
I was willing that into the hole end for her.
Yeah, one more roll needed. So she'll stay at 13 under.
Would have been nice to offset her 1 over total for the day. Round it out an even front nine.
So interesting. What's happening here is not that she's taking penalty or taking relief, but because they're playing preferred lies, she's able to take a preferred lie within 1 club length, and so it's not nearer the hole. And that's just a local rule for the day, because the fairways are a little bit soft and a little bit wet, and there's some mud gathering on balls when hit off the tee, and so certainly would look like a slightly unusual situation, but absolutely within the rules here for Katrina Matthews. It allows her to get the putter out.
It took a hard kick left then off the putter, didn't it?
Well, it did, and it also grabbed a piece of the sprinkler head as well. Just trundling on by. It would take a minor miracle to leave that short of the hole where that pin is cut at the moment.
Obviously, definitely an attacking par 5 this 18th here at Royal Canberra. But sometimes playing downwind can make it just that little bit tougher, hitting that approach shot in, especially when that pin's cut just short of quite a severe ridge, which the camera can't quite pick up, but you can see both that bunker shot and that putt just slide on by.
It's where being a really long hitter, like one of the real bombers, it comes as a big advantage. You can see in the background where most of the field are ending up with their tee shots because they're landing into the hill and stopping. But if you can fly the ball another 10, 15, 20 yards further, which some of the players can, then you'll be right down in that next gully and just going in with a short iron. Putt up the green, just sneaking by the low side for Nina Mule. And the Austrian will tap in for a par 5 to finish off her visit to Royal Canberra. It's a putt that Sarah Jane would like the look of here, Joe. Uphill, breaking right to left, just outside the cup. It's one you can afford to be aggressive with. Beautiful.
Yes.
So, excellent birdie 4 to finish for Australia's Sarah Jane Smith.
I'll take her to a 2 under total for the week. Another solid week. Rounds of 72, 71, 71. And how great it is to have our Solheim Cup captain for the European team, Katrina Matthew here, tidying up and down, a birdie on 18.
So the best completed rounds of the day so far for Rebecca Artis of Australia, 68, 4 under par. Klara Spilkova, she's also had a 68 to finish at 4 under. That's currently in a tie for 13th. Lydia Hall, a 3 under par, 69.
Once more to 9. Lindberg for par.
Yeah, just cut across that. And that'll be a bogey 5 for Pinilla Lindberg, and that all of a sudden leaves Jie Shin with a 2-stroke lead in the championship.
And Van Dam, 4 under for the day, and another birdie chance here at 10. This is going to be a slick putt down the hill. Close. This pin's only 5 on, 4 left, so it's tucked snug right into that greenside trap that's short left. There's also a tree that's short right, and I reckon if you came in from the right-hand side of this fairway, you'd have a pretty tight shot.
Well, Joe, we're midway through this final round at Royal Canberra. We're looking out through the doors of our commentary box, and we're seeing that the wind is stiffening. It was probably 10-15 kilometres an hour half an hour ago. It's got to be 20, gusting to 25 at the moment, so the equation is getting a little more difficult.
Yeah, it's coming straight off the sort of it's a northwesterly out there, but it's not really stopping our top players out there, with many of them being 4 or 5 under the card. But it could be a really interesting viewing from here on in. The greens will start to firm up. Some of those pin positions, like we just saw on 10, really sort of snug front left. So yeah, no, it's it could be some testing conditions. Well,
it's turned into a match in 4, hasn't it? At the start of the day, I think we possibly thought that someone from a little further back might make a run, but Carolyn Headwell at 7 under par is 5 shots back of 4th place at the moment. So realistically, outside of the top 4, we're not going to see anyone else win this championship.
No, but it's more than we had anticipated heading into today. I really thought that it was going to be a Shin and Lee head-to-head contest. So it's been great to see a couple of the other international players, Anne Van Dam from the Netherlands and the Swede Lindberg, sort of rise to the top and push those 2 girls along.
Well, let's take a look at the leaderboard as things stand in the ActewAGL Canberra Classic for 2018, and it's Jie Shin. She leads by 2 from Pinilla Lindberg and by 3 from Minjee Lee. And Van Dam is making a really big charge as well. She's 4 under par through 9. Just made a par up number 10, so she'll stay at 12 under and be 4 shots back. And there's some real birdie opportunities left on this back 9 for the big hitting Dutch woman. Beth Allen, she's at even par through 9 at 7 under, along with Holly Clyburn from England. Georgia Hall, 2 under through 10, along with Catherine Kirk on the same score. They're both at 6 under par. We'll be right back.
You might be certain about getting solar, but are you certain about getting the right size system? At ActewAGL Solar, we take away all the uncertainty. As your energy provider, we can take a look at your usage data to tailor a system that will save you the most money and offer great prices on battery storage so you can save even more. Plus, you'll pay $0 up front and have all the reliability of a trusted local company. So don't just be certain about solar, be solar certain with ActewAGL.
Audi Open House is now on. Don't let it pass you by.
Across the horizon, you jump, skip and hop, but never stop.
Welcome back. Welcome back to a breezy and warm Royal Canberra Golf Club for the final round of the ActewAGL Canberra Classic. Grant Dodd and Joe Charlton joining you in commentary this afternoon, Joe, and we could hardly have hoped for a finer start to the afternoon.
It's going to be a great back 9 here at Royal Canberra. We've got about 4 in contention. Overnight, there was just a couple of favourites that we thought would run away with it, but there's 4 and an international flair. We've got a Korean, an Aussie, a Dutch and a Swede in the mix.
A very multicultural leaderboard, as is our final group here at Royal Canberra. The former world number 1, Jia Xin. You see her just measuring out her preferred lie. 1 club length for the players on what are absolute immaculate carpet-like fairways. They're just preferred lying because there's a little bit of mud sticking to the ball in various places.
It's come up a treat here at Royal Canberra. She's just flown that trap that's about 204, but it's only playing about 194 off the tee, which leaves her with about a 145 metre shot here into the pin that's tucked short left. Straight at it.
Yeah, immaculate.
It'll be similar to Van Dam's putt about 10 minutes prior. Nice and slick. It's going to move from left to right.
And you can see there just the relative distance difference between Jia Xin and Minjee Lee.
Minjee's just got the most effortless, most efficient golf swing going around. If you want to learn how to swing it, guys and girls, all the little junior girls out here today, Minjee's your girl. A little bit of wrist cock, a beautiful pivot, and then through with the hips, and it's Just so repeatable.
Yeah, and she's just and she's very fit and strong as well. You can see that she really looks after herself physically, but she generates a lot of club head speed. This is her second. And just half a club short. Should hang on though, just at the front of the green, leave a relatively simple uphill chip. So the radar's just gone awry for Pinilla Lindberg. Hit it into the trees off the tee on 9. Has done something similar here on 10. A difficult second, having to come over the trees out of what may be a questionable lie.
Difficult one to track. Oh, here it goes. May have found the short left bunker there on 10. Couple of stray drives there for Lindberg, so tightening up a little bit. This crucial period as the galleries flock to watch our final groups.
Galleries really building with this final group.
Holly Clyburn from England.
Oh, beautiful shot. Holly Clyburn. Wow. Just a tap-in birdie for Clyburn. And that will move her to 8 under par and in outright 5th place. Playing this downhill par 4 11th. Big hitting Anne Van Dam, a little off target. Going out of the rough. Might have expected that to release a little more.
And there you can see it's just caught the ridge. There's a ridge that goes straight down the guts of this green. Your pin's on the right-hand side, so best to be on the right-hand side of the green. So that's going to be an interesting putt for Van Dam.
Over to Minjee. Front pin, uphill lie, and she'll realistically like her chances of chipping this in. Well, didn't land that on her spot at all and has left herself 6 feet for par. Seen a couple of pretty, well, average chips so far in the last few holes from Minjee Lee. And the pressure being exerted by Jie Shin and also by Pinilla Lindberg.
Let me know when I'm
that's
clear,
just
Sean.
starting to take its toll. Lindberg, greenside bunker. Well, almost played that too well. Got a lot of grip on it, landed in the fringe and stopped stone dead. She'll have an uphill putt for par.
Beth's going to be working this from the left-hand side of the fairway, but angling into the right-hand side where the pin is placed, back right. Get in. Oof.
And the challenge there for Beth. Played a beautiful shot, of course, but just coming out of the rough, unable to get any spin on the ball. And consequently has left herself a 20-footer for birdie. Dean Herden and Jie Shin doing their homework. Dean, as we mentioned, caddied for GA for 3 years at the start of her career on the LPGA Tour, 2008 to 2011. A very profitable time for both of them. 11 victories on the LPGA Tour for GA. And this birdie putt to increase her lead in the championship.
Difficult one to be too aggressive with, that putt. Still a nice par up the 10th hole, which is playing into a strong northwesterly wind.
It's interesting, Joe, because Jie Shin's reputation is built around her ability to come from behind in the final round and win. And she's one of those rare golfers that really grasps the challenge of Sunday afternoon and of winning and being able to win and having the passion and the desire to win are qualities that not everybody has. And by the fact that she's had 60 worldwide wins, just says something about what her level of desire still is. But remarkable how here she's demonstrated once again that no challenge is too great.
I think they nickname her the final round queen, I believe. Testament to what she's producing out here today in the final round at Royal Canberra. The nerve settler there for Lindberg. Straight off the tee, but a nice up and down there for par.
This is a absolutely huge putt for Minjee Lee. Par putt. This to stay 3 back. Well, she is going to need something miraculous in these final 8 holes to win this Canberra Classic. And if you were backing someone on body language, you wouldn't be backing Minjee Lee at the moment, Joe.
No, it's very uncharacteristic of her, isn't it? The sort of...
Well, uncharacteristic and unexpected, because the confidence that she was coming into this final round with, she had won last week in dominant fashion. She shot a 63 yesterday to jump to a 3-stroke lead, and you just really had the feeling that this was her championship to lose, and that may well prove to be the case. Beth Allen up the slope for a birdie 3, and left herself a little tester coming back as well.
Van Dam for 4. She was left of the pin and on the other side of a fairly severe ridge that runs right up the middle of this green. So this will be a par putt. She'll be happy with that.
So, Beth Allen, let's say that's a good 3, maybe just over 3 feet left, little left to right, just maybe on left edge here for Beth Allen.
She's currently at 7 under, so she's got nothing to lose coming down these last few holes. Especially now.
Oh, that's a disappointing bogey 5 after, and that really stings. And you say she's got nothing to lose, Joe, but of course every drop shot on Sunday afternoon, particularly when you're in the top 10, adds up to a whole lot of cash. And you think about the amount of money that is required to actually survive out here on tour on any given week, with airfares, with caddy fees, accommodation and transport. And I mean, when I was playing in Europe back in the late 90s, even way back then, we were looking at between 4,000 and 5,000 Australian dollars a week, and that wasn't doing it large either. They were sharing a room with another player on tour. And of course, included your rent back at your house in London. But yeah, you have 4 or 5 weeks of playing pretty average. You can have a pretty big hole in your credit card. You know, $25,000 stacks up pretty quickly when you're playing professional golf. And so every time you have a chance to win a big check on Sunday afternoon, you need to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
And the same applies, I think, for the women competing here at Canberra. $150,000 purse, which isn't a huge purse, but if you finish in the top 10, you can certainly add a nice little chunk to your bank account, and at the end of the year, it all adds up. And of course, for some of these players who perhaps aren't as established on the women's tour as others, every check really counts, because it enables you to keep your card for the following year and have playing rights rather than having to go back to tour school, which is one of the more undignifying experiences that you will have as a professional golfer.
One of the most tiring experiences. No one can tell you what to expect at tour school, but you are absolutely zapped by the end of that week. I remember Rebecca Arter saying at the end of last year's LPGA tour school, she said, I couldn't have done an extra minute. It's just so exhausting, obviously physically, because you're playing round after round after round, and various stages, obviously, a few stages in most tour schools around the world, and just the heightened pressure of what you're there for.
Well, it's like going for a job interview as a CEO of a company, and if you don't get it, you've got to serve coffee for the rest of the year. You know, realistically, that's how much is riding on it when you go to tour school. Not getting your card versus having your card means you have a place to play or you have nowhere to play, and there are a few more brutal realities than that in pro golf. Little aerial view of this clubhouse at Royal Canberra. Beautiful clubhouse in the midst of an absolutely magnificent golf course, prepared and primped in such detail here this week. Fairways are, as you can see there, absolutely magnificent. The greens are flawless putting surfaces, and as a result we're seeing some just brilliant scoring so far. Now let's take a look at the Bing Lee leaderboard for the ActewAGL Canberra Classic, and it's Jia Shin, the South Korean superstar. She's 16 under par, 5 under par for the round through 10 holes. She's got a 2-stroke lead over Pinilla Lindberg from Sweden, and a 4-stroke lead now over Minjee Lee after that bogey on 10. 5 over Anne Van Dam, and then another 3 shots back to Holly Clyburn. So it is a game in 4 here at the ActewAGL Canberra Classic at Royal Canberra.
I wake up on a sunny day and find my dreams are here to stay. They live and breathe Kalookalay. I wish that this could be every day, every day, every day. I wish that this could be every day, every day.
Audi Open House is now on. Don't let it pass you by.
Yeah, no worries. All these things happen. Yeah, thanks.
We march with a midnight song. We will light our way with our lanterns on. We march to a midnight song. We will light our way with our lanterns on. We will light our way with our lanterns on.
Final round action here at Royal Canberra of the ActewAGL Canberra Classic. Beautiful Sunday afternoon in Canberra. Hardly a cloud in the sky, plenty of breeze, and around 30 degrees. And we've got a wonderful contest in front of us.
Yeah, we've got 8 holes to play. Our leading group are teeing off 11 as we speak. And Shin showing her class. Minjee's probably bumping herself out of it as we speak. But look, you never know. I think from having a look at the course this morning, I felt that from 13 onwards, there was a real opportunity there for some attacking pins that you could really have a go at. A couple of par 5s. We've seen the 18th here with most getting on in 2. So there's still some opportunity, but I think Shin is, she's rising to the top.
There's some reachable par 5s to come and some very exciting golf to come for sure. As we go over to Minjee coming out of the rough on this downhill par 4 11th. And that will just stay up on the short grass there. Not that far from the pin, but a tricky pitch.
And Lindberg on the left-hand side of the fairway, which is the better side on the 11th. Minjee made hard work of that there. She should be able to, despite coming out of the rough.
Just sneak off the front edge and coming out of the rough. It's not thick, but it's quite wiry in places. And as we've come to expect, right in the middle of the fairway, Jia Shin playing her second. Just a wedge in hand. Absolute perfection. We are just being treated this afternoon to a display of ball striking and course management and world-class golf that I don't think we hoped we would see this, Joe, but this is quite remarkable what we're seeing from Jia Shin.
Yeah, absolute textbook golf. That ridge really just cuts that green right in half, and the ridge was a part of the original layout here at Royal Canberra. They kept it. Obviously, it's a bit of a point of interest at that midway part of the round. Good viewing, as you can see, with Shin just knocking it to a few feet. We had a Holly Clyburn on 12. She's got a bump and run this, quite a severe slope from right to left here. Well protected pin here on 12.
Superb there for Holly Clyburn. Just a tap in to clean up. So that will be a par 4 for the English player. She'll stay at 8 under and clearly in 5th place at the moment, 2 shots ahead of Aditi Ashok, Catherine Kirk, and her playing partner Beth Allen, is going to work with multiple LPGA winner Sophie Gustafsson, one of the legendary pioneers, I guess you would say, of Swedish golf.
Now tinkering with playing left-handed, she was telling us earlier today.
Yeah, get back to that in a minute as Beth Allen seeks to get the memories of the last 3 putt out of her mind. Yeah, it's a very solid 2-putt 4 there. Yes, as Sophie was telling us, saying she wasn't playing much anymore, but she's decided to try to learn the game left-handed.
Because golf was too easy right-handed, clearly.
Well, she said she wasn't ready to tolerate her inadequacies at this stage and play right-handed, so she's playing left-handed, and she's a 16 marker.
Just overread that one there. Van Dam.
So it's a bogey for Anne Van Dam. Just taking the wind out of her sails a little. One of the players that were making a real charge on the front 9. And if you want to win this tournament, you cannot afford to make any bogeys with the form that Jia Shin is in. And Joe, she just puts so much pressure on her playing partners because she makes no mistakes. She doesn't miss-hit any shots. She's in the middle of the fairway every time. She's got a makeable birdie putt every time. And it just tells you as a playing partner that you have to be at your very best. Otherwise, you're not going to win this tournament. As we watch Pinilla Lindberg playing her 3rd out of the deep front bunker. Just needs to catch the slope, and it won't. So Lindberg just running out of steam here. The closest challenger to Jia Shin, and we look very much like we're about to have another 2-stroke turnaround. Jia with a tap in for birdie. Lindberg looking odds on to make bogey.
And a Minji for her 3rd. You know, chip and run over that ridge. Just got to feed it down. She's done that very well.
Yeah, nice touch. Just checking it up on top of the ridge and letting it feed down towards the pin.
I think you're right, Dottie, though. It's going to take something really special from someone to shake Shin on these last few holes, because she's just in cruise control.
Well, Minji needs to throw caution to the wind. I mean, she's one of the I guess, the three players, you could say, that has a chance of winning. But she needs to basically just become very aggressive, to attack every pin and just try to get a bit of a roll on and put a bit of pressure back onto GA, because she is just looking like all those big 8 cylinders are just purring along nicely. She's basically only in about second or third gear as well. Looks like she could just cruise away with this tournament at the moment.
Very delicate putt here for Lindberg. It's a 2-part putt. Got an uphill to contend with, and then that ridge is going to carry the ball away quite quickly towards the pin. So she's taking her time here. Well judged for pace. Lindberg to tap in for bogey. So she's going to fall one shot further behind Shin, who's got about 3 foot for birdie here on the 11th.
Joe, we talked about the remarkable career of GA Shin up to this point. I mean, she's not even 30 years of age yet. But between 2006 and 2012, so before the ages of 25, before the age of 25, she'd already won 40 tournaments as a professional, including 10 in 2007 in Korea, and then another 7 in 2008 in Korea, while she was also playing in the US and Europe. Now, Min Ji, this is for a par 4. Nicely holed. She needs more than pars at this stage, Minji Lee.
GA was pretty pumped to be coming back to Royal Canberra, the site of her first Women's Australian Open victory. And it's been a big draw card here for the event, having her here.
So GA Shin, this for a birdie 3. To take a 4-stroke lead. And I'd say that's what passes as happiness or celebration for GA, who's one of the cruisiest people you will ever meet. What a great reunion for her with her great friend and caddy Dean Herden, who caddied for her for nearly 3 years during one of the great periods of her career. But what an interesting decision to make. In 2014, she just decided that she just wasn't enjoying life anymore. She wasn't enjoying it, being in the US, and she wanted to be closer to home. And as one of the top 5 players in the world, she said, that's enough. I'm going back. I'm going to play on the Japan tour, and that's where I'm going to base my career from now on. A remarkable decision to step away from the limelight and the spotlight and to basically do something that fulfilled her personally.
Well, yeah, that's right. Like, from an outsider, we would have thought that, she had everything that she needed. But at the roots of it, her heart was telling her that she needed to get back home and closer back home. And the opportunity in Japan, it's a very profitable tour too. So obviously she's still doing quite well for herself.
Holly Clyburn on the par 3. Down the hill, wonderful shot there from Clyburn. Around 10 feet up the hill. Left for her birdie.
downwind and downhill this 13th hole. Playing at about 143, but realistically probably, you know, 135 I would have thought. So it's a very attacking pin. So from here I think we'll see lots of birdies. Another fine shot.
Joe, I don't think I've seen an exhibition of shot making in the final two groups like this for a long time, where players are absolutely knocking the stick out on every single hole. I mean, they're not standing within throwing distance of this green. I mean, they're around about 140 metres away. And to knock it to consistently to a foot and 2 feet is just a testament to the talent in this field this week.
Beth Allen.
Yeah, 3 very, very fine tee shots there on 13 here at Royal Canberra.
There's nothing like a few competitive juices floating around, though, isn't it? When you're out there, particularly in match play, probably more so that you see it. But I suppose the way that today's setting up with really 4 key contenders, it becomes a little bit more of that sort of you and me type contest, and you get a little bit more adrenaline and that more of an attacking, aggressive feel in you. And yeah, they're showcasing some great golf subsequently.
Well, the choice often is on these back nines, particularly with this group here. This group can't win. No one in this group can actually win this championship. I think we've basically come to that conclusion. But they really can increase their take-home pay significantly by either choosing to, take an aggressive approach, or just being happy with the score they're at and hoping to steer that into the clubhouse. And that's a decision. That's a mindset that you either need to adopt or steer away from coming down this last few holes in the championship. And Anne Van Dam there will just walk up and tap that in. That'll enable her to pick up one of the shots that she dropped.
Tap it in she does. Holly Clyburn, a bit of aim point. Haven't seen much of that today. Aim point is a very scientific algorithm, helping people read putts. She was waiting for Beth Allen as she does her work in assessing the putt that she has ahead with Sophie Gustafsson. Clyburn there, right of screen, assessing it with a bit of aim point. Beautiful contours out here at Royal Canberra, as you can see from the footage. Lots of great undulations, and makes for great viewing as the galleries are coming out.
Now Beth Allen. +1 for the round now. It's 6 under. This to get to 7, and doesn't like it. Wasn't an aggressive stroke. And sometimes when you've made a really poor putt like she did on the 11th hole, it can stay in your mind. And all of a sudden you get to that point where you're thinking, oh, I just want to nurse this up against the hole and give myself a little tap in. The mental challenges of this game at championship level, as great as the physical.
Straight off the putter face there, Clyburn. Unhappy, and she's left herself a 2.5 footer down the hill now on 13.
Little tester coming back. Completed rounds today, the best of them from Rebecca Artis and Clara Spilkova, both 4 under par 68s, and currently in 11th spot, moving up the leaderboard, even though they're finished this afternoon as the breeze just stiffens here at Royal Canberra. So that's a par 3 for Holly Clyburn to stay at 8 under. She's 1 under par for the round. There's no doubt who the low player on course is, and it's G.A. Shin. He's out the front of this championship at 6 under par for the day, 17 under for the tournament. Keeping in mind, Joe, that we are only playing 3 rounds this week. She is 17 under par after basically 2.5 rounds of golf. Just astonishing play from G.A. Shin. Her second on number 12.
Played her drive beautifully up the left-hand side, which will open up the pin, which is short right. Looks like she might be fading that in the pin. It's pulled up a little bit short. We saw Clyburn chip from there earlier. Just got a ridge off the right bunker there to contend with, but judging from Shin's last 11 holes, I don't think it'll be any trouble.
Just in the first cut of rough for Lindberg, and coming from a really tricky angle as well. This pin cut over on the right-hand side should be really almost coming across the bunker, the front of this green, unable to get any spin on it. So you'd think that she'd be almost aiming this at the heart of the green, looking to leave herself a 30 to 35 foot putt for birdie from the left-hand side of the pin.
Well, be happy with that.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good play. You can see that she really had no access to that pin whatsoever.
The wind wasn't helping her cause either. Yeah.
Well, Joe, we spoke about the need for Minjee to get her skates on, and really it all comes down to going flag hunting at the moment.
We're coming from the right-hand side. Got a little task on her hands here. But she can't waste any more time.
Second shot on hole number 12 for Minjee Lee. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant shot.
Right
from
on
the
cue.
Australian number 1, and just what the doctor ordered. Her day heading in the wrong direction. She is 2 over par for the round, but it suggests she's going to tap that in to get to 13 under and to move back to within 4 strokes of the leader, G.A. Shin, who she acknowledges, Joe, as being one of her heroes growing up, as one of the players that she really looked up to. And what a thrill it is for all of us as golfers of any ability and level to be able to get into close proximity to our heroes in the game, but then to also at some point find yourself playing with them in a golf tournament. And you know, it's one of those pinch yourself moments, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think I suppose Minjee would have preferred that she was sort of heading in the similar direction as GA is, but there's no doubt that there'll be a nice warm and fuzzy feeling that she's feeling right now.
What are your pinch yourself moments when it comes to golfing experiences?
Golfing experiences. Well, do you know, I think any of Tiger Woods' moments are pretty hard to go beyond. Not that I've been there and by his side, but golf's a great game in that regard because it throws so many variables and anything is possible. So there are some wonderful moments. I reckon Richard Green's hole-in-one at the 15th at the Oates Vic Open was pretty impressive too. That's sort of one of those, it's maybe not a pinch yourself, it's one of those freakish sort of moments like, how on earth did that happen? But yeah, no, there's plenty out there.
Of course, on a par 4, that shot too for Richard Green. It's had about 70 million views on YouTube to this stage. A remarkable moment in time captured on camera. So Min G, sorry, no, this is GA Shin. Nice clean lie, very straightforward pitch. She's got a reasonable amount of loft on the club. So we just landed on this downslope and let it feed down towards the cup. Oh, just got that a fraction heavy maybe, but a good result. Just not sure that she landed on a spot then. It didn't feel like it came out with very much spin.
It might have checked up an inch or two too short for her, I think. But nonetheless, she's still only got about 3 foot to tidy up for par. She's sitting at 17 under and leading the charge.
Over to the very long birdie putt for Pinilla Lindberg. Took a medicine there and played to the left-hand side of the green, but she's got a good, let's say, 70 feet.
Yeah, it's going to move from left
paces.
to right.
Yeah, 25 paces from the cup down and across the slope, and if you walked out there now and said to her, I'll give you a 2-putt, she'd pick a ball up and walk to the next tee without even blinking. Good to see the savvy members gathered in the tree line, taking advantage of the shade here at Royal Canberra, of which there's plenty. Beautiful old pine trees and eucalypts. A feature of this golf course. Birdie putt for the Swede, Pinilla Lindberg.
The bad read on my behalf. It was pretty straight.
I think she read it fairly similarly, and a little knee knocker left to go. Lindberg to stay at 13 under. And she's still away.
What are your thoughts on aim point? Do you see a lot of aim point when you're...
Well, it wasn't around when I was still playing on tour, but I think if we're talking about a pertinent point in golf at the moment, to be honest, to be taking this long over a 5-foot putt, to be stalking it and walking around it, and I mean, it's probably to the detriment of the game, and it's no mark against Pinilla Lindberg, but you know, we need to find ways to speed this game up and to enable us to present it in a bit more of a dynamic way. And I think the experiments that are being done on the European Men's Tour with the shot clock is something that hopefully can be integrated into professional golf worldwide over a period of time.
Formats such as the Super Sixes today over in Perth too. That's another innovative format of the game.
So, despite all the homework that was done, Pinilla Lindberg has a 3-putt bogey on number 12. She will drop back to 12 under. And, well, GA may not even need to put a foot on the pedal coming home. If she taps this in, she's going to have a 5-stroke lead. And the ability basically just to aim for the heart of the green on every hole coming in. And there's a couple of par 5s there where she'll, even if she doesn't reach them, she'll be playing one of her favourite clubs, just a little sand iron in for the 3rd. And, well, she is going to be almost impossible to beat, Jie Shin. This for par on hole number 12. Oh, well, commentator's curse. Of, just as she more or less had the chance, I think, there to shut the door. 5-stroke lead with 6 holes to play.
Still laughing it off, though.
Well, you won't see that from Jie Shin in a month of Sundays. Missing a 3-foot putt. One of the very best putters that we've ever seen in women's golf. Well, Minjee, out of nowhere, pushes herself up to 13 under, and all of a sudden, only 3 back.
Game on, I reckon.
Well,
again.
Absolutely. You just have to love the way that this game can just shift in a heartbeat, and the unexpected. Well, the story of professional golf is expect the unexpected. So let's take a look at our leaderboard, our Bing Lee leaderboard in the ActewAGL Canberra Classic. We've got 6 holes to play, and it's Jie Shin back to 16 under, 3 ahead of Minjee Lee, and 4 ahead of Pinilla Lindberg. Anne Van Dam is still in there with half a chance if she can really get hot in these final few holes, but it looks like a match in 3 between our final group here on Sunday afternoon at a manicured and perfect Royal Canberra in the Canberra sunshine.
Get you close to me. Then when I got you, baby, we go crazy with a capital C.
Audi Open House is now on. Don't let it pass you by.
You might be certain about getting solar, but are you certain about getting the right size system? At ActewAGL Solar, we take away all the uncertainty. As your energy provider, we can take a look at your usage data to tailor a system that will save you the most money and offer great prices on battery storage so you can save even more. Plus, you'll pay $0 up front and have all the reliability of a trusted local company. So don't just be certain about solar, be solar certain with ActewAGL.
We're in the home straight here on Sunday at the ActewAGL Canberra Classic. And this is Minjee Lee. Tee shot on number 13. Excellent. Pin high, 10 feet for birdie.
This hole's a very attractive looking pin. It's 147 playing 143 minus the wind factor again, that mid 130s. So they're only hitting a short iron in, these girls, and everything sort of feeds down to the left. There's beautiful contours behind the green on this 13th, and it's a very attractive looking pin. Nothing better than hitting down onto a green.
Well, it's been a very subtle shift in the energy of this championship just in the last 5 minutes, where GA just looked to be absolutely cruising. Minjee has just been able to let her remind her that she's still around. It will be interesting to see what happens with this tee shot from the world number 25. Superb answer, and getting closer. A little downhill birdie putt there for Jia Shin. Well, Pinilla Lindberg not so long ago was 5 under par for the round in this final round of the Canberra Classic, and she's had 3 bogeys since. She's back to 12 under. Really needs a good tee shot here. And the struggles continuing there for Pinilla Lindberg. She's on the dance floor, but a long way from the band there, Joe Charlton. And interesting, we've been talking about I guess, Jia Shin and the way that she's decided to take her career in a different direction in recent times. But go back, well, just over a decade now, she lost her mum when she was 16 years of age, and a real tragedy where her brother and sister were also really badly hurt in that car accident. And she said she used golf as a vehicle to help her get over the grief. And years down the track, she again made a decision, to be closer to her family, to go to the Japan tour. And we may not hear that much about the Japan tour, but the women that play on that tour in Japan are absolute superstars. They are as famous as the men who play on the Japanese tour, their male counterpart tour. And she may not be a household name in the world of golf at the moment, or as visible a household name, but she is still a big name in that part of the world.
Yeah, the Japanese tour, I think they have about 34, 38 events for the whole calendar year, playing for $1 million plus. So it's a great tour if you can get onto. A young Aussie, Karis Davidson, who starred last week at the Oates Vic Open, she made it through the grueling 4-stage tour school, and really look forward to watching her progress, because, as you said, it's a well-established tour.
Coming off a 3-putt on the previous hole, Pinilla Lindberg looking to cozy this down by the cup. Well, that's a similar length to the putt she had on the previous hole.
She seems to be surfing the roller coaster of golf at the moment.
Yeah, There's
Lindberg.
a little bit too much tension in her game at the moment, and it's certainly showing the accuracy of her tee shots and just how far off the speed she is on the greens. GA going to school on this downhill putt, just trying to break it into sections. Dean Herden giving her his thoughts. I once had Big Dino in the bag for a South Australian Open at Kooyonga back in the day.
That's where we will be next week, at Kooyonga.
Outstanding golf course. Great caddy too.
GA to get back to 17 under. Left to right putt.
I guess hitting that outside the hole at that speed, I would have thought that if you were going to hole it, it definitely should have broken from right to left, but it just needed to be, the speed just needed to be different, so it would have tailed just at the end. But just charged that 2.5, 3 feet, and dare I say it, she missed a putt of this length on the previous hole.
Yeah, it's as silly as it sounds, they're sort of must-makes, aren't they, at this point of the game?
Okay, so a solid 33 for our leader. She'll stay at 16 under.
We'll ride this home with Minjee.
Yeah, what a moment. What a moment for Minjee Lee. 20 minutes ago, she was 5 shots back. And if she can roll this in, she's within 2 of Jie Shin. It's interesting, Joe. They both of those players saw that putt coming from the right, and if anything, Minjee's actually broke a little to the right, right at the end. Opportunity missed for Minjee Lee.
Pinilla Lindberg, 7-foot putt for par on 13. Needs to hold this. She's really contending for 3rd place now with Anne Van Dam, who's 4 under for the day, so she needs to get her skates on. Lindberg.
She's really working overtime on these putts, though. Just doesn't look very free at the moment, does she, over those putts? It's just, I mean she's really working hard, and she wants to, she's trying to win this championship, and you know, we all understand that the pressures that come with that, but there's she's just lost that sense of freedom and flow that she had on the front 9, and her championship really heading the wrong direction. 3 putts in a row for the Swede. I'll drop her back to 11 under, 5 back. And Anne Van Dam, who's made a birdie, puts herself only 4 back. And the great commentator's curse, Joe, when you suddenly start to make predictions about the way that a championship's about pan out, and you can certainly end up with a lot of egg on your face very quickly because, Minjee Lee is not a player to lie down in a hurry, and we've seen that. And that birdie that she made on number 12 has just kept her in with a sniff.
And had she held that one then on 13, I could have been jumping off my seat in a couple of shots with a handful of holes to go. But, it's not in doubt still. We've got a very accessible pin to attack now on 14 as well.
You know you're supposed to be impartial, don't you? Aussie. We can't help it. We can't help it, ladies and gentlemen. Minjee Lee, the Australian number 1, the world number 17, trying to chase down Jia Xin, the former world number 1 and absolute superstar of the game with over 60 worldwide victories to her name. Plays on the Japan tour these days. She's had 3 victories on that tour in each of the last few years, and you would dare say there's a whole lot more still to come. And who knows? It's hard to say just how long she may stick with it as a pro golfer, but let's say she's got at least another 10, potentially 20 years of competitive golf in front of her. If you look at the example set by Laura Davis, she could win 100. Imagine that. She could win 100 tournaments in her career, Jia Xin.
I'm going to raise the bat, as we say in cricketing terms.
Yeah. It's
wouldn't put it past her.
Well, three a year for 10 years. Over to Minjee.
Looks like quite a heavily bunkered hole this at 14, but it's really only 186 to carry that middle bunker. It's a pretty easy tee shot for these girls.
Now, Pinilla Lindberg. Now she's distracted. She's a little nervous, and she's just trying to hang on at the moment.
Cheer from the crowd. Yeah, she has smoked that. It's bouncing past another ball.
It's a big drive, using the slope to advantage, and just a short iron from the right-hand side of the fairway too, which is the most accessible spot to play from with that particular pin. And our final group who played their tee shots, and just a handful of holes to play in this championship, which has just been a great success so far. To bring a championship of this quality to regional Australia, even though it is the capital city of the country, it's still a little bit out of the way from off the beaten track. But when you've got a golf course of this quality and this beauty, it's a great pity not to play it on a regular basis. Down to 18 for Aditi Ashok.
Caught that upslope there, so she still had a way in. That.
Oh, a little unlucky there for Aditi Ashok, who will have a very swift eagle putt down the slope. Fine strike, though, from the Indian player.
She's a quality putter, though, Aditi, so stay tuned.
Yeah, and a big hello to
young amateur Dowie Choi.
Yeah, big hello to everyone watching in India. This live stream from Australia. And one of your favourite golfing daughters having a very fine week.
So Dowie plays her golf out at Concord Golf Club, and he's at the low am currently in this event. But she's taking 3 wood into 18.
She's on the upslope a little, which is an advantage. I mean, she can get the ball up high and hopefully bring it down reasonably softly. And may use the slope. Oh, come on, come back, come back. There we go. That's an outstanding shot. Because as we've seen, Joe, it's not easy to land a ball in the front section of this green and stop it.
That's easily the best shot that we've seen in there all day. They're also joined by Woods, Cheyenne Woods, over here for the swing of summer here in Australia. She seems to be wandering up to her second shot.
First hit to my left. No, I got it. She just went into the bush.
So Dowie Choi is the only amateur to have made the cut this weekend, so she will be the low amateur, and that eagle putt, were she to hold that, that would give her a round of 74 and a 1 under par total, which would have her right about the 30th place mark in this tournament. And great experience, Joe, playing for these young amateurs trying to learn their way and potentially one day turn themselves into professional golfers. This sort of experience is invaluable. Yeah,
exactly. And in Australia, I suppose, in years gone by, this year's it's been tremendous work that the ALPG have done. But in years gone by, the opportunities haven't been there, and we now have a sequence of, you know, half a dozen events for our young amateurs to get some experience under their belt. Minji getting a short iron here on 14. The pin's 10 on, 9 from the left. It's a relatively flat section of the green too, so she'll be looking to get this one nice and close.
Beautiful shot. Maybe got a little more spin than she would have anticipated there. She's left herself under the hole. Very little break in that putt, maybe just a little from right to left, but that will be a putt that she likes the look of. Yeah, GA, just a short iron in her hand. Second into 14. Great answer. That's a stunning shot from G.A. Shin. And all of a sudden, Joe, it just lets Minji know that she's going to have to make that putt as well. Big drive from Pinilla Lindberg. No more than a 60-degree wedge for her second. Well, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant golf. We have been treated to some awesome ball striking this afternoon. Head back over to hole number 18. This is the final hole of the tournament for Cheyenne Woods. For those who haven't made the association, the niece of Tiger Woods. This is her third shot on the 54th hole. Tried to play a little check-up shot. Was hoping it might have grabbed it a little quicker. It's pretty solid though. Left it on the right side of the hole, putting up the hill.
Wouldn't it be great to see her and Uncle Tiger play an event together?
It's doubtless to happen at some point in time. Some clever promoter will put that together and look at, you know, it's got even more appeal if she achieves her full potential as a professional golfer, because she's got plenty. She's a very fine player. We saw her win back in 2014 at Royal Pines in Australia, her first big win. And at her best, she's got an enormous amount of game.
And so does this young girl. She had 3 years on the LET. And a couple of wins already.
Eagle putt for Aditi Ashok. Unfortunately, just left herself in the wrong position there, and well, she probably could have got a little bit closer if she got the speed right, but the real difficulty there is that if you just get a little too delicate with the speed, then it stays up on top of that ridge, and then you're staring at an impossible putt. Like putting down the bonnet of your car.
For those that don't know, Aditi was the youngest ever to win the LET Tour School a couple of years back, and also the first Indian girl. Lots of potential, and has already run 3 times on the LET. Known for her putting prowess. She'll be disappointed with that. A 5 from being on the green in 2. I'm sure that was not what was planned. Over to amateur Doi Choi.
Well, this would be a finish with an exclamation mark for the young amateur from New South Wales. This for Eagle.
Gave it every chance there, Doi.
Yeah, not to be. So, but a fine birdie 4 to close, and she will be rewarded with the title of low amateur in the ActewAGL Canberra Classic. Over to Cheyenne. Three over par for the day, Cheyenne Woods. She's gone the wrong direction, but this would just make dinner taste a little bit better tonight. This for a birdie and a round of 74.
not to be.
Yeah, disappointing day for the American. A 3 over par round of 75, rounds of 72, 69, 75 for an even par total, and currently in a tie for 34th place.
Dee tidies up there for 5 on the 18th.
Good day for Dee Ashok. A 3 under par total. She's 6 under for the championship and currently in a tie for 6th place in the top 10. But back to where the action is in our final group, and gee, what a putt this is, Joe, for Minjee Lee. Straight up the hill that her main opponent is in tight there for birdie to move to 17 under. This to get to 14 under for Minjee Lee. Yeah, just didn't have the speed. Just wandered about at the end. So only a par for Minjee.
And GA could really seal it here.
Well, GA knocks this in. She has a 4-stroke lead with 4 holes to play, 2 of them being par 5s. Interesting the level of trust that exists between Dean Herden, you can see in the foreground there, and Jie Shin, having caddied or been a partnership for over 3 years together. She still calls him in, asks for his advice, even though this is just a one-off week for the two. They haven't been together for 7 years. Birdie putt for our leader to take a 4-stroke lead.
Had Minjee made that putt, eh?
Wow, it's extraordinary. Because it's no exaggeration to say that she is just a wonderful putter, particularly the putts of that length. A little shake of the head.
She's got a great routine. There's no time wasted. Straight onto it.
Well, it's keeping us interested, ladies and gentlemen. Jie Shin has had the chance to just ice this championship and to make it a mere procession down the last few holes, but she's continued to give Minjee Lee a sniff. Yeah, it's a great birdie from Pinilla Lindberg, just what the doctor ordered. So that will take her to 12 under and back to 2 under for the day. She was 5 under for the day at one point. And she's got a couple of very birdieable holes still to come, including hole number 15, this one. So this is the state of play in the ActewAGL Canberra Classic as we take a look at the Bing Lee leaderboard. Jie Shin by 3 from Minjee Lee. She's at 13 under. And Van Dam at 12 along with Pinilla Lindberg And then back to Holly Clyburn at 9 under par. Still with a chance of making a big check, but almost certainly no chance of winning this championship. So an exciting 4 holes still to come here in Canberra at Royal Canberra on a perfect Sunday afternoon.
Audi Open House is now on. Don't let it pass you by.
You might be certain about getting solar, but are you certain about getting the right size system? At ActewAGL Solar, we take away all the uncertainty. As your energy provider, we can take a look at your usage data to tailor a system that will save you the most money and offer great prices on battery storage so you can save even more. Plus, you'll pay $0 up front and have all the reliability of a trusted local company. So don't just be certain about solar, be solar certain with ActewAGL.
Aerial view of Royal Canberra Golf Club here. Black Hill in the distance, Lake Burley Griffin, Houses of Parliament, the capital of Australia, looking resplendent on a Sunday afternoon as we watch the last few holes of the ActewAGL Canberra Classic for 2018, and it has been just a wonderful exhibition of shot making here this afternoon, particularly in our final group from the former world number 1 Jie Shin and the Australian number 1, the world number 17 Min Ji Lee. And probably shouldn't neglect to mention the quality of Pinilla Lindberg, who's had a bit of an up and down day, but continues to keep herself in contention.
Yeah, still at 1 under par, but she'll be disappointed with that. The most recent stretch on this back 9, she sort of let herself down a little bit, and it's the Jie Shin show. I'm really interested to see how she plays this hole though, the 15th. It's a par 5, it's only 426 metres with a creek that cuts right across the front fringe of the green. So lay up, do you think, or do you think she's going to go for it?
No, I think she's going to go for it for sure, because the challenge here, I think, is that if she's laying up, she's really got to hit something like a sand iron for a second, because she needs to leave herself a full distance for a third. She's a great wedge player, but the creek that runs across the front of this green, it's not particularly deep, and I think that she'd fancy her chances of just playing from the back of this green and getting up and down into. She can certainly reach. So the second shot on par 5, 15th for Jie Shin.
Came up quite high on the club face there.
It's just superb. Absolutely superb. Like a frozen rope. That's an eagle putt to come for our leader. So you can see a ball down there in the distance. That
Yes, she has it.
may well be a layup for Minjee Lee. It looks like, yeah, it suggests that's Pinilla Lindberg's tee shot. We know that she's got a little bit more juice in the tank than Jie Shin. Just a mid-iron for her second. So a pull there for Lindberg. She's in the greenside bunker for 2. She'll need to get up and down to make her birdie.
She just seems to be a little bit fidgety over the ball in this back 9.
Yeah, she's feeling it. I mean,
pulling the trigger.
You know, when you're not in this situation on a regular basis, as Jie Shin is almost on a weekly basis, and Minjee increasingly, the proposition becomes a little bit more difficult. It's more of a challenge. When you find yourself in this situation more regularly, you become more comfortable with it, and you can see that her comfort levels are just not the same as those of her playing partners at the moment. Well, we didn't see Minjee's tee shot, but it does look like she was in some trouble. Has just played conservatively with her second, and gives herself a sand iron third to a very friendly pin on this redesigned hole. Certainly now a superior hole than what it was before the redesign by Mike Clayton and Jeff Ogilvy. Mike Cocking also. Now one of Australia's leading golf course design architect firms and consultants, and what was, particularly for the men in the old days, a very dinky die, sort of strange par 5 that you had to hit a hard hook with a 2-iron off the tee, now has a bit more shape about it, and also a whole lot more challenge with the second shot, with that, I guess you would call it a burn running across the front of the green.
But Minjee's got plenty of green here to work with. Pins 18 on. There shouldn't be any issues here. Looking for a nice close one.
So that red dot you can see in front of her is 55 metres to the front. So she's got 57 metres, and then another 18 to the pin. So right on 75 metres for her third.
A deserving clap from the crowd.
And wonderful to see the support for the field this afternoon from the Canberra golfing public. As well they should, Joe, because there's some absolutely world-class golfers that have come to Canberra this week to compete.
Yeah, of the 144 that kicked off on Thursday, 38 tour wins between them. So we talked about JA and, you know, the rather extensive resume that she's got out on the tour. She's one of many out there this week. Lindberg from the bunker. Without a victory to her name, but it's come very close. Was hoping for a victory today. It seems that there's a little bit too much room between her and Shin. maybe sitting a little bit below her feet there, that bunker shot, or on the back edge of the bunker?
Yeah, just maybe on a little downslope and then pitching to a downslope as well, which is always a challenge. Just left herself on the wrong side of that pin. So over to our leader, who has an eagle putt. Not a huge amount of slope on this green, Joe, and it's fractionally downhill. It's sort of flat for the first 8 to 10 feet, and then just catch a little bit of the slope on the way down to the cup.
There have only been 3 eagles on this hole to date. 97 birdies, so maybe she can add another one to that eagle count.
And this putt to get to a remarkable 18 under par, and that statistic also given that she's already missed 2 3-foot putts on this 9 alone. Eagle putt for Jie Shin.
She likes it.
Makes it. Wow. Oh, you just have to love the way this lady goes about her business. Little fist bump from Big Dino, and well, we tried to give her the tournament about an hour ago. I think we might also have to conclude a little bit now. Well, there's plenty of money to be made yet for Pinilla Lindberg. She's in a tie for third with Anne Van Dam. This for a birdie to get to 13 under. Oh, great up and down for Pinilla Lindberg. And, well, it's not easy, and sometimes it's not particularly pretty, but it's working, and she is really showing that she's made a pretty stern stuff, the Swede. So momentarily that moves her into a tie for second, depending upon what Minjee Lee does here. So it's Minjee Lee 13 under, Jie Shin 18 under. This putt to stay within 4. So there we have it. It's a 5-stroke lead for Jie Shin with 3 holes to play over Australia's Minjee Lee and Sweden's Pinilla Lindberg at 13 under. And Joe, I think that what we're left to do now is basically contemplate who might come second.
Yes.
because with that eagle putt, Jie Shin just put a foot down and said, "That's enough from you pretenders. I'm taking over here."
And that's what separated it. It's just been the flat stick, hasn't it? She's, well, and some immaculate golf from T2 green, but Minjee just been off on the greens, and GA has just been spot on.
Well, she consistently gives herself opportunities, and I mean, I can't recall so far today seeing her play a shot from anywhere other than the fairway.
I think it's a great call. I can't recall a moment either.
She's an astonishingly accurate driver. She's just got a metronomic like golf swing that keeps giving her opportunities for birdie, and being a great putter just adds to the complete equation that is Jia Shin.
Yeah, it's just, and confidence builds confidence, and she's well on top at the moment.
Australia's Catherine Kirk. Big drive down 18. This is her second shot. And nicely done. It'll stay on that bottom tier. Just feeding back, taking a little bit more of the slope out of that eagle putt. So she's got an eagle putt there to make a little move at the end of the championship. Currently, Catherine Kirk has dropped back a little bit. She's back to 2 under par. She's 2 over par for the round, but an eagle putt there would do her week and her bank balance no end of good.
Yeah, and it's been great to see her out this week, and obviously off a successful 2017 season. We're having that win at Thornbury Creek.
Now Georgia Hall from the back bunker here on 18, trying to check it up down the slope, and played that about as well as you can. I've seen that putt quite a bit today, people playing from the rear of this green. So she'll have around 15 feet for a birdie for the 2017 European Ladies #1. Just another headline act here in Canberra this week.
Yeah, she's made really solid stuff. And she's 1 under to date, with obviously that birdie putt still to come, and we're going to see a lot of her over the summer here. She's playing next week over at Kooyonga, which is going to be a real treat. Probably will suit her quite well. It's more of it's not a links course, but it's definitely got that linksy-esque sort of feel to it, Kooyonga.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry to interrupt you, but close to the ocean. My memories of Kooyonga are that it tends to get a bit breezy around there at times, and just a beautiful golf course, a classic golf course that reminds you of times gone by. That it hasn't been rendered obsolete by technology just yet. I always feel with Kooyonga. I mean, it's only short, but you really have to golf your ball around there.
Yeah, the par 3s, I always recall them being really strong holes, quite long and demanding off the tee. And yeah, when the wind picks up, being so close to the coast there, it's a good test for the players.
Catherine Kirk doing her homework.
This is for eagle.
It's a really nice way to finish things off with an eagle on the last. It's a bit of bounce in your step. Currently in 25th place, Catherine Kirk. Did have a little bit of a round going earlier.
Yeah.
But had bogeys on 11, 13 and 16. This for eagle to take her to 4 under par. So tap-in birdie for Australia's Catherine Kirk. A winner in Australia, and as Joe mentioned, now also a winner on the LPGA Tour. That's a reward for a lot of hard years put in over there.
It's been 7 years since she'd won on the US Tour, so her mind had wandered to, perhaps giving the game away. So it was wonderful to see that she could bounce back with that victory. Really pivotal in her career.
Georgia Hall, right to left up the slope. This for a birdie 4.
Oh.
Not to be. So Georgia Hall with that par will sign in for a round of 71. A 5 under par total. And just inside the top 10 at this stage, in a tie for 9th with Letitia Raff Undereather and Carolyn Hedwell of Sweden, who's still out on course, continuing her good form. Had a fine week last week. So, hopefully the last blow in anger for Panarat Tanaponbunyaris from Thailand. She's 2 over par for the day, 3 under for the championship. Log jam at 15th. And that's one way to jump out and make yourself some more coin. That takes her into a tie for 12th place with a bunch of players, including Sarah Kemp, Clara Spilkova, and Rebecca Artis. And Joe, they all count. They all count, and a nice way to finish off for that young lady. But it's all happening at the top of the leaderboard, though. And Jia Shin, what a remarkable performance it has been today.
Yeah, that eagle putt. She, as we were saying, she could have sealed the deal on 13. Oh, actually, let's go back one. 12, 13. Another chance on 15. And she made that one, which was awesome. Never looked in doubt, that putt. It was just swinging in from the right.
Keeping in mind that she is 18 under par in a 3-round championship, which is extraordinary. 2 missed 3 putters. She could be 20 under par with a few holes to play. And that is just world-class golf from Jia Shin, who is our leader at 18 under. She has a 3-stroke lead over Minjee Lee and Pinilla Lindberg. And Anne Van Dam also up there at 12 under par. Another 3 shots back to Holly Clyburn. Aditi Ashok is in the clubhouse at 6 under in a tie for 6th, along with Kylie Henry and Beth Allen.
Get you close to me. Then when I got you, baby, we go crazy with a capital C.
You might be certain about getting solar, but are you certain about getting the right size system? At ActewAGL Solar, we take away all the uncertainty. As your energy provider, we can take a look at your usage data to tailor a system that will save you the most money and offer great prices on battery storage so you can save even more. Plus, you'll pay $0 up front and have all the reliability of a trusted local company. So don't just be certain about solar, be solar certain with ActewAGL.
Audi Open House is now on. Don't let it pass you by.
Just a few holes to play here at Royal Canberra for the conclusion, or to the conclusion, of the 2018 ActewAGL Canberra Classic. $150,000 purse up for grabs. And we have had the pleasure of watching a number of the world's finest women golfers in action, but certainly it has been a display par excellence from the former world #1 Jia Shin.
Kylie Henry from Scotland. She's even par so far. This is her second shot into 18. She hits it a long way, Kylie.
That's a massive tee shot down 18. Just, wow, look at that for a shot. Nearly an albatross. Wow, that is incredible. The wind has just turned around in favour of the players, and that bomb from Kylie Henry leaves her a 3-footer for eagle. The struggles on the greens for Pinilla Lindberg continue. Just left herself another 6-foot putt for a par. She is very frustrated and expressing those frustrations to a caddy.
The caddy-player relationship's an important one, and that's boyfriend Dan Taylor, I think, on the bag. Putting him to some hard work today.
Lovely lag putt from Jie Shin in the rear of the green. And I'll tell you what, if you can make a relationship work by being boyfriend, girlfriend, and spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, caddying as well, then I figure you can probably got a good chance of making it work long term.
Yeah,
because
put a ring on it.
Yeah, put a ring on it, because you know, it's a high stress situation. Quite often, and things get said under the heat of the moment that you wish you hadn't said, and if you're saying them to not just your caddy but also your life partner, you better have a pretty good understanding between you two. Minjee. Birdie putt. Minjee to get to 14 under. Well done. So just trying to clear out in second place at the moment. Minjee takes her to 4 back with just 2 holes to play. She really works hard over these 6-footers, Pinilla Lindberg. Big putt for her. She's trying to stay around that second place mark and does nicely. But she'll find herself in 3rd place. Outright 3rd, 1 ahead of Anne Van Dam, who is at 4 under for the day. She's got the 18th tour to play. So a par 4 for our leader, Jie Shin, who stays at 18 under, but now only 4 strokes ahead, with 2 holes to play from Minjee Lee. It's Pinilla Lindberg in 3rd, and Van Dam in 4th. Now, eagle putt from Kylie Henry after that superb approach shot. Just 2.5 feet. Wow, beautifully done. Now that's certainly made Kylie Henry some money. She was even par through 17 for the round. And that will jump her ahead of Beth Allen, who's at 7 under, into an outright 6th place for Kylie Henry.
Yeah, apply a little bit of pressure to the second last group now coming up. Beth Allen's at 7 under through 17. So birdie needed for her to join Henry at 8 under.
Minjee, beautiful balance, controlled swing on 17. Just landed a little harder than what she would have expected.
It's a long par 3, this one, and it's playing downwind, so it will probably favour a fade in there, just to so it can react a little bit softer to this green, as you saw Minjee's then just kicked on a little bit.
And 17th here, we thank Audi, who've been fabulous sponsors of this championship and have put a magnificent car up for a hole-in-one. Hasn't gone off yet. And just the shot that was required. Heart of the green. 20,
uphill putt.
Yeah, 20 feet. Perfect play for our leader. Now Lindberg. Right shoulder up, usually indicates the ball heading right. Sound a little low on the club face as well. So possibly in the front bunker there for Pinilla Lindberg. Very difficult pin to get at today, tucked over on the right hand side.
Yeah, again, the bunkers, to carry that bunker, it's 11 on from the front of the green. So I caught that one just a fraction heavy, and it trailed out over into that right hand side bunker.
Well, Joe, it's a pleasure and a privilege to watch a truly world-class player like Jia Xin go about her business, and we don't get the chance to do that as much as what we should, or we would like to, given the decisions that she's made in her career to go and play in Japan, which is, there's a certain anonymity about that because those tournaments aren't broadcast worldwide and we don't get to see it. But I mean, she's a multiple winner every year on that tour and a complete superstar in that part of the world. But when the opportunity is presented, such as it is today, we understand that we are privileged to be able to watch.
Yeah, we're in quality company, and she's shining out here today on Sunday.
And she's an artist and a technician of a type that perhaps even from a bygone era in some ways. If you think about the way this game is evolving into a power game, into even at the women's level, certainly the men's level, we're seeing guys get stronger, work out, becoming more athletic. She's basically someone who crafts her way around the golf course still, doesn't overpower a golf course, plays for position, plays to her strengths.
Lindberg here, playing out of the bunker. Still a little bit of work there to do still for Lindberg on 17.
Down to 18, Anne Van Dam, who has just launched one off the tee, and just a mid-iron second leaves her an eagle putt. So Anne Van Dam with that putt, should she make the eagle, will shoot a 6 under par 66 in the final round. But more importantly, she'll move into a tie for second place with Minjee Lee. So it's been a very good weekend so far for Anne Van Dam. A 68 on Saturday and potentially a 66 to close. So that was Minjee playing from the back of the green, choosing to putt it from the fringe. And Joe, we've talked about the money aspect of it. Everyone in second, third, fourth, fifth place are jockeying for position for. But there's also the question of world ranking points as well. And we saw Minjee Lee last week at the Vic Open move from 20th in the world to 17th. And a second place finish here will probably get her a couple more positions to move as well, I would suggest.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Pinilla Lindberg, we saw that shot previously, and just a replay of coming a little bit heavy out of the bunker. And she, I mean, she's got great ambitions, Minjee Lee, and she certainly sees herself, I think, in her mind. She doesn't express it quite overtly, but as a player who can contend in majors consistently and who can consistently be in the top 10 in the world. And every little move up those ranking points just bolsters your confidence a little.
Yeah, she definitely warrants that, and there's no doubt that she has that desire to be the best that she can be. I mean, last year, as an example, as Shin's addressing her ball, she only missed 3 cuts. It was a winless 2017, but she 10 top 10s from those 23 cuts that she made.
Jie Shin for birdie. Very little break in this putt. Well, putting up the slope and a little tentative there, just trying to roll it up dead. And certainly you wouldn't give me that putt, would you, Joe?
I don't know, Daddy.
No, you promised you. I promised you wouldn't give me that putt. I can tell you right now.
You definitely wouldn't give me that putt.
Especially after you watched me putt for about 16 holes. But just 4 feet to go for Jie Shin on it to put a, well, just another ability to close out what has been a remarkable day as we go over to Pinilla Lindberg. Just to stay at 13 under. Just tailed off, so a bogey 4 for Pinilla Lindberg. She'll go back to 12 under par and likely find herself in 4th place after really contending earlier in the day. It's been a real up and down day for her, but a real learning experience as well.
Yeah, it's been an up and down day for many of our players out in the field, and we've still got the 18th to come once GAA pops this one in, and that could be a birdie, eagle, a par. So watch this space. Still a little bit of movement, I think, on the leaderboard.
Very solid from GA, so she'll hold sway at 18 under par, and well, she could play the last with 5 wedges and probably still win now. Not that she will. When she hits a driver as straight as she hits a wedge anyway. So Minjee, a little tester, maybe just inside left. Nicely hold. And I wonder whether she... I wonder whether she's been asking anyone in the gallery how her brother's been going today.
Yes, of course. We should.
Because we'll have to check on that over in Western Australia as Pinilla Lindberg attempts to clean up for her bogey, which she does nicely.
Yeah, we must cross in to see how Minwoo's doing over in
Perth. It's a fascinating story. Such a talented family. Minwoo Lee, of course, the US junior champion. Minjee is already carving her own niche in the world of women's professional golf. She's played with one of her heroes today, and well, she's probably been schooled, really, because she'll learn. You would think she'll learn a lot from the experience of watching, somebody just play this game in such a different way, but do it so effectively.
Looks like it's just going to roll up to about 220 off the tee, perhaps, just on that the upslope, which will help her hitting a second approach shot in.
Well, Pinilla can really use a birdie to close here.
Yeah, she'll be disappointed with that because she's got a little bit of length over the other two. She would have been looking to chase that one down the hill on the fairway.
Well, one hole to play, Joe, on what has been just a wonderful afternoon in all respects here in the nation's capital. We've seen just a remarkable exhibition of golf from Jie Xin, who's 7 under par for the day. She's renowned for her final round charges, and she hasn't disappointed anybody today.
No, the highlight really truly came from the 15th with that eagle putt that she just so casually strolled in. Talking about eagles, Van Dam for eagle on 18.
Well, the final group have hit off on the final hole, and the galleries are all gathered around this 18th green and down with the players on the 18th fairway, and they'll just enjoy this procession, this march, and the ability to get nice and close to two of the world's very best women golfers.
Yeah, it's a real treat to be able to walk the fairways, old school golf. We're seeing a little bit more of it here in Australia in our recent events over the last several years, and I think it should be encouraged. The spectators love it.
We'll just give you a bit of an update on Minwoo Lee, who's won his first 2 matches in Western Australia. He's in the quarterfinals of the Super 6 knockout. Not forgetting he's an amateur and the brother of Minjee Lee. And he is currently 1 up in his quarterfinal against Sam Horsfield of England. So he could, this could be a remarkable victory for Minwoo Lee. He needs to keep it going, of course, but then if it were he to win this tournament, he would be exempt on the European Tour. So what a weekend for the Lees.
Yeah, they're a pretty remarkable family. I don't think it'll be long until Minwoo does turn pro. He's ready. He's a super player. Hits it a long way, great with the flat stick, yeah, just very efficient like Minjee.
Pretty handy on social media as well.
Yeah, he's a good character. He'd be good for the game, very much like Curtis Luck.
Yeah, so after the tee shot, Pinilla Lindberg has she's got a bit on her hands here. Just needs to get this back into play, give herself an opportunity to hit a short iron for her 3rd. Into this downwind par 5. Well played. So she'll just have a wedge for her 3rd. So Joe, the challenge here for Minjee is just gathered in that fluffy rough up the right-hand side, which will mean she really won't be able to get any spin on it. And that brings into the equation the back bunker on this 18th green and potentially leaving yourself on top of that tier. And it does beg the question, doesn't it, as to whether you're better to just play a shot that rolls up towards the front of the green and give yourself an easier up and down than to hit it over the back of this green and to, at best, end up with a 15-footer coming back for birdie.
She must be listening to you, Dottie, because she's got an iron out, and there's no way known that she's going to hit that iron 200 odd metres. So I think, yeah, short left perhaps, and use the angle into the green.
Well, so that's gone left and it's missed the bunkers, and that will be some sort of a difficult pitch from there. You can see pins cut over that side, but she'll be have a questionable lie, pitching to a downslope, and that will need all of her significant skills of the short game to get that close. And guess what? Jie Shin's in the middle of the fairway. Again.
Yeah, she has been a machine today. It's been a pleasure to watch.
I wonder if she gets nervous, because she never looks nervous, does she? She just looks like, well, this is what I do. I win golf tournaments for a living. And I'm having fun. And, yeah, she's just one of the most likeable people you'll ever meet as well, Jie Shin. Her second shot, final hole of the ActewAGL Canberra Classic. Might have just rolled back into that front bunker. Wouldn't help much.
But still, as we were talking about only a few minutes earlier, that there's nothing wrong with that front trap there, and using the upslope out of the bunker, a nice soft landing bunker shot gives you a good chance of birdie.
Yeah, and you certainly don't need to enter into any heroics when you're that far ahead. Even though there's always a bit of personal pride involved, liking to please the crowd. Now, Pinilla Lindberg. Nicely done underneath the hole. Birdie putt to come for Lindberg to move out of a tie for third with Anne Van Dam, who signed in with 3 consecutive 68, 68, 68, 68 for a 204 total, 12 under par. Excellent week for her. Holly Clyburn is also finished now. She shot a 2 under par round of 70 to be 9 under. She's in 5th place. And Beth Allen, a 1 under par 71. And Beth is at 8 under par in 6th place. So another fine week for a very consistent player from America.
Yeah, she obviously made birdie coming up the 18th. Only a few moments ago, and has consolidated another great week. You've come to expect that from Beth. She's a very experienced player, and yeah, it's wonderful to see her and Soph out here.
How do we get Jie Shin to come back every year and give us this sort of entertainment?
I think play it at Royal Canberra. She seems to like this place.
Yeah, she does, and you get a feel for certain golf courses, don't you? I mean, certain players walk onto a course and go, well, this just feels good to me. It suits my game. It sets up well for me. I mean, most courses set up well for you when you hit it dead straight off the tee, dead straight with your irons, and you putt really well. So there's not too many golf courses in the world where that won't work for you, and it certainly worked this week.
Yeah, the opportunity is there for those that are accurate at tee to green, and that's right, spot on. She has that. She's a very classy player.
Do you think Minjee Lee, will be better served by not winning this week going into the Australian Open? Like she's had a little bit of a setback today where she led by 3 and probably in her mind thought that she could win this championship running away. Do you think that what she learns out of this will actually help her next week heading into the Australian Open?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Like we're all sort of anticipating that there might have been a trifecta on in sight, but no doubt that this will make her hungrier. She would have learnt a lot from her hero in GA, and she's a competitive one. She'll be out in full flight next week. This is a tough shot here. Really
tough shot. You can see there almost no green to work with. little dirty bare lie, and she's knifed it. She tried to play to that top tier and just use the slope to run it down, but she had no grass underneath the ball, and I think she was just going to take her medicine there and hit it into the heart of the green and try to make a par. But well, now she has got an adventurous chip coming up. It's if she can get that within 10 feet, she's played a great shot. What she has done, though, is she's given Pinilla Lindberg a sniff, a real sniff at second place. Currently, Minjee at 14, 2 ahead of Van Dam and Pinilla Lindberg. She makes bogey. Lindberg holds that birdie putt, and all of a sudden we've got a tie for second place. Nicely done. She would have liked it a little closer than that, but it's all elementary at this stage, because unless she fails to sign her card correctly at the end of the round, heaven forbid, Jie Shin is going to be the champion at the 2018 ActewAGL Canberra Classic. Now, over to Minjee. And that wide view just tells you the challenge that she has. It doesn't quite emphasise just how severe the tier is in this green. And interesting that she's choosing to pitch this, Joe.
I quite like this play because she's going to get a little bit more nip out of it, so it might take a little bit of the energy out of the ball. But she's got to get it over that tier, which she has.
Yeah, I know I didn't see that shot because just needed to just get it almost a stop on top of the tier and let it feed down.
Hasn't been Minjee's day, but look forward to seeing what she can produce over in Kooyonga next week.
Yeah, it could very well make her just that little more determined, because your national championship always something that every player has in mind to win.
Yeah. Winning at home always has that extra special feel, and I think last week she was quoted at the end of round 4 saying twice as the charm when she took out her second Oates Vic Open. And but yeah, winning the major title in the Australian Open would be a huge feat for Minjee.
Massive putt here for Pinilla Lindberg.
Ooh.
She didn't die wondering. She's just snuck it by 3 feet as well.
It would seem that Minjee is then safe in second, even a 2-putt bogey. Oh, I beg your pardon. No, I've got that wrong. She's on for 4, isn't she?
So this is for par. Even if she makes bogey, she'll drop back to 13 under. And the 2-putt bogey will see her in outright second. And that's what it is. A disappointing 6 to finish for Minjee Lee. Gets the acclamation of her home crowd, and fast becoming a real fan favourite in this country, the Australian #1, world number 17, and she may wake up tomorrow morning maybe even 16 or 15 in the world, which is always a nice thing to happen. A little sneaky downhill, fractionally left to right par putt for Pinilla Lindberg, and this is worth some money. In a tie for third with Anne van Dam, she'll drop back to solo fourth if she misses this putt.
Oh. Mm.
Well, this game can be like a house of mirrors sometimes, can't it? You just think she's staring down an uphill birdie putt to potentially grab a share of second, and a few minutes later, well, she can't miss fourth place whether she holds this putt or not. It makes no difference, but it's just a disappointing way to finish, and it just makes things difficult mentally, you know. Just got to every time you do something great in this game, it's a way of fortifying the spirit and gaining confidence. And when you finish like that, it's often hard to just put it in the back of your mind. But back over to Jie Shin, who has just dominated the field this afternoon. This birdie putt. To win the 2018 ActewAGL Canberra Classic. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion at 19 under par, the great Jie Shin. Great friends and a great partnership over the years, Dean Hurden and Jie Shin, and he's given her more than a few pats on the back on Sunday afternoons.
There's that big grin.
Well, you hope for Pinilla's sake that she rolls this in. This for a bogey 6. Well done. Well done. A disappointing finish, but a fine week nonetheless. Anytime you finish in the top 5 in a professional championship, it's a great result. And we've enjoyed watching Pinilla Lindberg, and we've really enjoyed watching Jie Shin put on a masterclass in professionalism, in course management, and in just basically putting the field to the sword.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can't put that past her. I didn't see it playing out exactly like this today. I really thought that we'd have a real head-to-head sort of contest, but she was just, there were absolutely no imperfections in her game today. She was flawless.
She started 3 back and she won by 4. Jie Shin, 19 under par. She won by 5, my apologies. Anne van Dam, outstanding week for her. Also Pinilla Lindberg, Holly Clyburn, also having a fine time of things on this weekend. And it has been just a wonderful Sunday afternoon here at the ActewAGL Canberra Classic.
The open house is now on. Don't let it pass you by.
You might be certain about getting solar, but are you certain about getting the right size system? At ActewAGL Solar, we take away all the uncertainty. As your energy provider, we can take a look at your usage data to tailor a system that will save you the most money and offer great prices on battery storage so you can save even more. Plus, you'll pay $0 up front and have all the reliability of a trusted local company. So don't just be certain about solar, be solar certain with ActewAGL.
The crowds turned up, the weather behaved itself, the golf course looked immaculate, and we saw an exhibition par excellence from Cheyenne.
Yeah, Canberra's favourite. We'll see her back, no doubt. She had eight birdies, just a single blemish out there, and it was, as you said, did she miss a fairway today?
I don't recall that she did, and that's a remarkable statistic in itself. Didn't miss very many greens either. And it shot 19 under for 3 rounds, so averaged better than 66 a day. And it's just fascinating to watch her. She's almost, nothing seems to fluster her, and she just sticks to a game plan. She never makes a hurried or an unbalanced swing, and that's why she's one of the greats of this game. Yeah, no,
emotionally she got everything in check. And Laura Davies at the start of the week said, after round 1, if I don't shoot anything less than 66, 67, I'm in no chance of winning this. So, yeah, as you said, averaging 66, that's the standard that she set this week. It's been a great venue for this championship. The golf course comes up beautifully on television. It's a spectacular and tranquil place to commentate and to play golf. Yeah, no, I wish I'd bought the sticks and could dust them off and go out there. Not to the level of these girls, but would have been a treat. Yeah, but that's the great thing about this game. You can appreciate it at any level of excellence. And anybody who comes to Royal Canberra for a game of golf will know that they've been in a really special place. Mm. Yeah, there you can see that beautiful aerial view there, that creek that runs across the 15th. That's, again, that's the highlight for me with Shin rolling in that eagle putt, that beautiful hybrid that she hit high off the face, landed nice and soft, and yeah, she played that hole just perfectly. It's one of the real strengths of her game, isn't it? That with those, I mean, she's not a long hitter, but she has incredible accuracy, as we've already mentioned. But her ability to bring the 3 woods, the 5 woods, and the hybrids in and land them softly from quite a long way back is an incredible skill, and she used that to great advantage today. Yeah, no, like it's just like dynamite, and it was a complete domination from all parts of the game today from JA, but particularly I think a lot of the Asian players. I remember playing a little bit with Lydia Ko growing up, and I remember watching her. The control that she could get with her hybrid was just really impressive. So it's GA Shin's championship by 6 shots from Minjee Lee from Australia in outright second place. Anne van Dam from the Netherlands in 3rd at 12 under par. Pinilla Lindberg in 4th at 11. And then Holly Clyburn from England at 9 under par, rounding out the top 5 in the championship. Beth Allen, Aditi Ashok and Kylie Henry up there as well. Yeah, Aditi Ashok, she was one that really made a move today. Had 3 under and finished at 6 under total. When she gets that flat stick going, she's really one to watch, and only very young. I think she's only about 20 years old, Aditi. Oh, lovely light breeze just blowing through the trees. The flags are fluttering. It was a little stronger earlier in the day, but just a little gentle now, back to about 10 kilometres an hour. Just the verdant green of this golf course showing out once again, and great to see
A lot of the members and spectators sticking around for the presentation ceremony, where the champion will be crowned very soon. Well, let's go down to the presentation ceremony with our champion Jia Shin and Hayley Willis.
Thanks, Grant and Joe. Well, congratulations, GA. What an incredible win. You must be feeling very proud. Your 50th professional victory and your second here in Canberra.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was so excited, and then I can tell you, this is for sure where Canberra is my favorite golf course in the world.
The back nine there was a bit of a battle between yourself and Minjee. What was that like?
Well, I played pretty good on the front nine, but she had a few missed shots. But on the back nine, she's changed, and then she on the game, so it make the better race. It make them more nervous to me, but it helped more better to my game also. So I played with Minjee today, last 3 days in a big crowd. So I really enjoyed and very proud about her play.
This must give you some confidence heading into next week's Australian Open.
Oh yeah, actually this week is my first event on this year. So with a good start, I think pretty good warming up for next Australia Open. So I'm very looking forward to that.
Well, I won't hold you back any further. I'll get ActewAGL CEO Michael Costello to hand you your trophy. Oh. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Well, there she is, the champion, and she's done that a lot in her career. Somewhere around about 50 victories, depending upon how many times you double them up for the co-sanctioned events. But whatever it is, it's a lot, and it won't be the last either.
And it was great to hear that she said this is her favourite course. So maybe that is a secret. We play it here every year, and we might see her every year.
Well, that'd be great, because she's a great star. She has friends all around the world, including here in Australia. And every time she comes down here and plays, she lights up both the golf course and the television. She's such a beautiful person and such a great nature, and it's hard not to root for her.
Yeah, no, too right. I think she's just a bundle of joy, that beautiful smiling face, so calm and consistent, a real someone for people to really look up to. A lot of our juniors, hopefully they got out there and had a look at not only Minjee, our homegrown hero, but she sets a wonderful example for our future golfers. Well,
so does Minjee Lee. She finished in second place. She heads to the Australian Open next week at Kooyonga with a point to prove. She's won the Victorian Open. She's won the State Open level, but she's never won her National Open, and that is a real challenge for her against what will be one of the best fields we've ever seen assembled in Australia.
Yeah, she's going to be extremely determined next week, following it's probably a disappointing day for Minjee. She would have been out there. It was hers to win today. It was just a classy unit that just got in front of her.
She was all class. And let's take a look at the highlights of this wonderful Sunday for Jia Shin, who started off with a bang. There was plenty of action at the top of the leaderboard, but Jia Shin just kept the pedal down. This lady got off to a great start as well. Pinilla Lindberg, 5 under par for the front nine. Ran into some trouble on the back nine though, and what shot making we saw this afternoon. GA just on the button again with the distance control. This shot from Minjee made us think we were about to see a bit of a resurgence. Rolled that in for birdie, but it wasn't to be. It was G.A. Shin's afternoon as we take a look at the final scores in the ActewAGL Canberra Classic, where G.A. Shin is our champion, a 6-stroke victor over Minjee Lee, 7 over Anne van Dam, and 8 over Pinilla Lindberg of Sweden. Holly Clyburn at 9 under par, had a fine week here, 2 under par today. Beth Allen, Aditi Ashok, and Kylie Henry in 7th place. And then just rounding out the top 10, Letitia Rathandaritha, Georgia Hall, and Carolyn Headwall of Sweden. Well, Joe, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to be here at Royal Canberra this afternoon to watch world-class golf in action. It's a great venue. It's almost certain that we'll be back here again next year, I think, given the success of this championship.
No, let's hope so. And thank you so much for letting me journey along with you. It's been a pleasure to be sitting beside you, Dottie. Well, we've got a lot of people to thank, including ActewAGL, for their commitment to this championship. And we love having great sponsors on board. And for them to get involved and to lift up women's golf in this country, they deserve a huge amount of credit to the Canberra government, to the Ladies European Tour, to the ALPG, to all the players who got on board, and all the minor sponsors like Audi put up the hole-in-one prize out there as well. It takes a lot of people to bring championships of this calibre together, including sponsors, and we thank everybody for their involvement. To the television production side, to producer Sean Mulcahy, Australian Network Productions, and all the camera guys and sound who bring this together, we thank you. And we've had a wonderful day here at Royal Canberra on behalf of Grant Dodd and Joe Charlton. We say thank you and look forward to your company when we're back here again next year.